Hassan was like, yo, good luck getting that guy in your fucking show.
I told you I'd be here.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Let's see what the Raw house looks like.
Yeah, I mean, shit, honestly, it's dope, but
nice.
my setup is not as beefy as yours. I'm a little bit...
Whoa, that's a big motherfucker.
Yeah, Hayes.
Look at you, you're so big. Oh my God. Golly, nobody's coming in this house, huh? Nobody's coming in this house.
Look at the size of those dog shit, bro. Holy fuck.
This is a big moment.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording
okay,
right
cool.
now.
What's
this is
up?
a huge moment. I feel like when I had Hassan on,
Yeah.
my audience was like, "Fuck you! Why would you do that? Why would you platform this guy?"
Really?
Yeah, some of them, not all of them. A lot of them.
I went to the comments and a lot of people, or I don't know, maybe it changed over time, but a lot of people were like, "It's nice to see these guys having a conversation," which I thought was nice.
Yeah,
But
that's like honestly, I mean, obviously that's the thing with all this like internet shit and like I guess specifically in like the genre that because like you're kind of in that. Not so much political space, but you talk a lot.
Yeah, I am in the political space with Hassan.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's a little more charged when they come to like
Yeah.
this and that and whatever. But
Well, thank you for having me on. First of all,
Yeah, man.
we had you on our show, and it was such a fun time. It was so good. It was actually like a really wholesome, nice podcast. Everyone had a good time. I don't think we ever had beef necessarily. Maybe just a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to try to bridge some gaps here between some people that I may have had friction with.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of your audience probably hates my guts. Like I know that going in, and it's fine. It's fine.
I don't know if like I mean, I think there's just certain things like we did the pod, me and you on yours, and people will see certain clips and it'll be clipped like crazy out of context, and it'll just be like Ethan hates people who works out, like all this crazy shit. And I remember you sent me this one clip and it was funny because it just literally sounded like you were just like working out's just dumb.
Dude,
people are
it made me so dirty. Like a lot of people hate me. And we talked about this on our show, but on TikTok, there's like a whole gym culture. Okay?
Yeah.
And which you're a part of,
Right.
obviously. And they all like, I'm the guy who hates exercising. Like,
yeah. So what is that about?
I
Because you got to tell them now.
Yeah, so I don't hate exercising. I exercise, actually. I've been exercising a lot. Lost like 20, 30 pounds.
Yeah.
In the past like 6 months. I've been athletic my whole life. I'm a fat lard ass now, but like in high school and shit out and in college, I was pretty athletic. I played water polo. And I have a great respect for people like you who go to the gym and sculpt their body in such a way. Because like I said, going to the gym and getting physically fit, there's no shortcut to that. Whether you're poor or you're Bill Gates, like you can't pay someone else to do that for you. Like you have to do it yourself. Yeah. And so there's a level of dedication and just straight up hard work that goes into that I've always respected. Yeah. The thing is like the clip that always goes around to me on TikTok is I was just making like a silly joke about how we did this and it's funny because when I explained this, that dude took it and made it sound like I said working out isn't worth it. It was so funny. I was just goofing around on the podcast, making a joke about how if you go on a treadmill an hour a day for 50 years, does it save you more life than does it get you more life on the back end of being healthy? You know what I mean? Because an hour a day for 50 years is a long time. Yeah. And in the end, we calculated that it is worth it, a lot worth it. It saves you. It makes you live way longer than the amount of time you're on the treadmill. Right. And so I guess people just went gangbusters and they made it seem like But I actually don't hate working out. I think it's obviously super important to health.
So you played sports when you were in high school and
water polo.
Water polo.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy.
I was
It's
skinny.
one of the hardest sports.
Yeah, it was tough, man. The training for that was like crazy in the early mornings. Yeah. We used to wake up at like 4:30 a.m. in high school. Sometimes people were so wanting to skip out on water polo practice. Dudes would literally shit in the pool. There would be human shits in the pool.
So they can get out of it.
It's because it was a health issue. So they had to cancel practice for the morning.
So people would shit.
People would shit in the pool to cancel practice. And it was awesome. I loved that shit. Yeah, it was great.
So I'm curious, like for you, content and all this stuff over time, where did it start? Like, how? Because I didn't know enough about this. Obviously, I didn't look into like all the stuff. I like to just ask about it. But where did you start the idea of you wanting to make YouTube content? Mm-hmm. Because you did content that wasn't the podcast stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you transitioned into this. How long have you been doing the podcast stuff specifically?
I think the podcast has been like 5 years.
5 years.
And my whole like career time on YouTube is probably like over 10 years.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, I always want to do comedy, and I think a lot of your fans probably are like fans of my old stuff, right? I get that a lot of like, he used to be funny, but now he's like a hack or whatever. Now he's like fallen, whatever. So that's cool. So we have that like a little bit something that connects us.
There's
right?
some hope there.
Yeah, there's some hope.
No, because that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I'd read comments like that, and people are like, "Oh, he used to do this," and people be like, "I used to watch him doing this."
Yeah.
And now they're like, you know,
I like that. I like when I read comments like that because it's like, okay, there's hope. There's hope for us. Like, you know what I mean? Because I haven't changed that much. I always wanted to work in comedy, and I didn't really have any way to do it. It felt like impossible to break into like comedy. Even like writing was something I thought maybe I could do. It's like, how the fuck do you even break into that?
Yeah.
I was living in Israel with my now wife.
Yeah.
And we lived there together for 5 years, and she had a video project, and it's funny. My whole career comes out of spite at something my wife said.
No way.
She goes. So she was making a video content with someone in her class, and she says about this one guy, he's so good at acting. He's so cool. He can do anything on camera. And I was like, fuck that guy. I can do all that shit. I'm not impressed. And so we started making videos together and posting them online under H3 Productions, which is our initials. It's just Gila, Hackman, and Ethan Klein, and the he was taken, so it's just the three.
Yeah,
is
for
it
the
he?
he.
And so we started posting videos online, and I really liked it actually, and we found like a really small audience. You know, I don't think anybody I didn't make a living doing it for like at least 2 years. It was just love of the game.
Yeah.
And it was really weird, kind of like I Tim and Eric, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those guys were like my comedy idols, and so I was making really weird kind of stuff, just trying to find my voice.
Yeah.
But we found a little bit of an audience, and I think the channel really blew up when I started doing like reaction videos and stuff like that. And so it's just been a long journey, really, of making stupid little videos in my underwear in my studio apartment, in Israel.
Yeah. Why do you think people say you change though?
I think,
what about you changed?
Yeah, that's a good question. So as far as I'm aware, I don't think I changed, but I understand why people think that, right? Like outwardly. I think there was kind of like a golden age of my YouTube career on my old channel, H3 Productions, where there was this whole kind of emerging group of people, the social justice warriors. And I'm talking about like the good old ones, you know what I mean? With like the blue hair and the humongous. You remember that shit? Like she tripped out. This guy said humongous to this girl, Zarna, and she had a fucking meltdown.
Just because, like fat, like big?
She said, "What's your name?" And he said, "Hugh." And she said, "Hugh what?" And humongous. And I think a lot of the people watching probably remember that because I did like a whole video series about it. But she was like, yeah, she thought he was referencing his penis. He was just making a stupid dad joke. But like the level of freaking out that was a result of that stupid joke was just like gold, right?
And what is the freaking out there that he said that is...
She was accusing him of like sexually harassing her or something stupid, right? Because he said humongous. He said his name was humongous. There was lots of other stuff like women saying that the AC is sexist, or that
AC?
Yeah, the AC is sexist because women tend to be more cold than men.
Wait, no, there's no way that's a real thing.
No, it is. It was a real thing. That's why it was such good comedy fodder for me, right?
Yeah.
There was shit like man-spreading. BuzzFeed did this whole thing about man-spreading that was super funny to me, because men have shit in their legs. Like women, they sit there like this on the subway and they go, "What's with men?" They open their fucking legs. And I have shit in between my legs. Yeah.
I can't just be like
I
this.
can't sit like this. I won't be able to have kids.
Yeah.
So there's all this shit that's super funny.
Yeah.
That's like, I guess the category is like anti-social justice warrior.
Okay.
There was like all the Gamergate shit. And so I actually made a ton of videos about this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it attracted a lot of more conservative leaning people who were just kind of, but at the time it was like everybody was in on the party because these people were just so absurd and the content was so funny. I wasn't very open with my politics or anything really. So I think there was a lot of people that came for that kind of content, and they just had this idea of me in their mind of being like more like them than I was.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
I really don't know how to. And I'm not saying y'all like hate women or something, but I think there was some level of more of a conservatism perspective in the fans than I had, and that was okay. You know what I mean? Because I never talked about my politics and stuff, and I think people tend to see the people they like as more like them,
absolutely,
than they are, right? Because they didn't know me at all, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that, and I think people, as I did the podcast and started doing more long form content, obviously a lot of who you are is going to come out when you're talking for 3 hours nonstop. You know what I mean? There's no editing there. There's no like sugarcoating and stuff.
Especially the live stuff, which I love, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
So much fun.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great. It was great having you on there. Yeah, I think there's a magic in the live, but also there's no takebacks, which is why I get canceled all the time or get into trouble and shit. But as I, did more and more content, a lot of the fans, I think, that came for them from that time, they started to, I think, realize that I wasn't like them.
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with that, but like I would make videos about like the Catholic Church. I did like a whole rant about how the Catholic Church is, there was this huge story about like how they were sheltering a bunch of pedophiles on the East Coast and like moving them around and shit. But I say shit like, I'm ready to disband the whole Catholic Church. You know what I mean? And people don't like that shit, right?
Yeah.
As you can understand.
Of course.
And so there's stuff like that. People get angry. And then there's stuff where I'm criticizing the police and people don't like that. And so there are certain bits of chipping out the old people who were more conservative viewpoint. And I think at this point they're all gone. And they just were like, man, I remember when I could watch his videos and enjoy them.
Yeah. And this whole thing I find so interesting, just in general, this like, I guess, content driven around like conservatism or like, liberal. And it's like, it just seems like there's no, at the end of the day, I don't know, it never goes anywhere that's good. You know what I'm saying? Because it's always kind of just like someone shares an opinion and because it's opposite or opposing to someone else, it's just like, it's a problem because people are always reactive with like feelings.
Yeah.
And then there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't seem to like line up or add up to me. It's just like, for example, we'll get into this conversation a little bit, but like the Tate stuff, but the not necessarily this thing that's going on right now, which I want to ask you your opinion about, but just the two sides of, I guess we'll call it what you said, we were on your podcast, like the manosphere thing versus like kind of the content that you make, Hassan and all that, like kind of like the two sides, right? And I think to me, the thing that's so interesting about it is both sides do the exact same thing in a different way. Right? It's like they rally their audience kind of against the other side in relationship to their content. And I feel like overall, like in time, as this kind of stuff progresses, like it doesn't actually make people on the other side fully understand the other side. And that's why, like, I started wanting to do more content, like where I was like even wanting to reach out to you, to talk to you, to try and be on the podcast. Cause like, I don't care if someone else believes something that I don't believe. I don't need someone to think what I think.
Yeah.
I honestly just like learning and understanding from people. And and obviously I like, now that I did the podcast with you, I looked at a bunch more of your content and I can be like, this shit's funny. I like it. I like what you put into it. I like the energy you put into it. And I just think like, I'm trying to find more of that, at least in the kind of content I create. And because I just don't see any benefit in you're wrong, I'm right side. And that's the thing about it. Like, I wanted to ask you your perspective on it. Do you think overall the content that you make is like a net positive to the internet or like a negative? Because like just in general, it seems not all the content, but in some ways can be just like rusing. Like you're just kind of getting people riled up.
Yeah.
Rousing. Excuse me.
To go back to what you said before I answer that, I agree with you, and I'm making more of an effort to kind of like not have to fight every fight and not have to take on everything that somebody says I disagree with. I think that's one of my problems, right? Is that I feel like I can't let shit go and I have to like talk about every single stupid thing. And I don't think that's a good way to connect with people or to live your life. Do I think what I do is a net positive? I do, actually.
Yeah.
Because
but I want to say, I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just curious.
It's not my goal to be frank, to be a net positive. I'm not like it's not like my mission statement to make the world a better place, right? Like I'm just trying to entertain people and make people laugh and forget about their shit during the week. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But I do think like my express purpose with making the show with Hassan, which is political, The Leftovers, is, I feel like a lot of the change I want to see in this country is going to come from the younger people, and young people tend not to vote or be politically active. They're apathetic, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, quick interruption from our sponsor, Mint Mobile. All right, so check this out. Mint Mobile is the first cell plan that you don't need to go into a store to get. You can literally go to them online, mintmobile.com/RAWTALK, by the way, but you can go to them online. You can get a plan for $15 a month, like unlimited talk, unlimited text, $15 a month. If you buy 3 months right now, you get 3 months for free. I have I think 4 or 5 of my employees use it. It's super affordable. Like, for example, Sylvie has a personal phone and he has a business phone, so we can blow him up. But yeah, he uses it. It was super easy to use. Give it a shot. I might get it for Jacob, but I don't know. We'll see. If he deserves it or not. We'll see. You can use an existing phone. They give you an eSIM. They activate it. Very easy to use. Very, very affordable. Check it out. If you guys have been looking to switch your plans over, switch it over now. Again, 3 months for free when you sign up for 3 months, and it's only $15 a month. Or you can buy a device from them and they'll give you 6 months for free. But basically it's crazy affordable. It's super easy to use. You literally just go to mintmobile.com/RAWTALK and you get those 3 months for free right now. Again, mintmobile.com/RAWTALK. Buy 3 months, you get 3 months for free. And it's just super easy to use. You don't got to show up to you don't even got to go to a store to do it. They'll just send you the stuff and you just activate it and that's it. Very easy, very seamless, very affordable. Mintmobile.com/RAWTALK. Let's get back into this podcast.
And the older generations, the really old ones, the retirees, they're don't have shit to do. They've got all the fucking time in the world, and those motherfuckers vote.
Yeah.
And they're super conservative. And so something that was an express kind of mission statement of making that show is that I wanted to activate more young people to be interested in politics. And I respect so much what Hassan has done, because he's one of the biggest Twitch streamers. And he talks about politics. And it's the fact that he's able to get people interested in that is kind of miraculous.
And keep their attention.
Yeah.
Twitch is not a thing that's you're not just posting YouTube videos. That's he's 10 hours a day type shit. Insane.
I think he was the number one most watched
this year.
Yeah, so the guy has a gift for that. I think what he's doing is super important, and so I wanted to kind of participate in that. And when I say, by the way, again, because I know there's probably a lot of conservatives watching the show, when I say I want to activate young people, I'm talking about stuff like universal health care. I don't think that people should have to pay for insulin. I don't think people should be incarcerated for nonviolent crimes. I don't think that prisons should be owned by private companies and be profiting off prisons. I think universities should be free or heavily or damn near close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe that that there should be a universal basic income from people who, as we automate the world more and more, you know what I mean? It's just only natural that there's going to be less jobs. I think what I'm interested in is the welfare of everybody in the country, and especially the people on the bottom side, because they're the ones that are going to need the most help coming up. You know what I mean? And this isn't a culture war thing where I want fucking kitty boxes in your kindergartens for kids to take shit in kitty box or whatever the fuck it is that they talk about on Fox News. You know what I mean? I genuinely I just want to advocate for a stable and healthy democracy that we live in.
Here's my question to that, because like I obviously the amount of money specifically California, but the U.S. takes from people in taxes is so tremendous that I wonder why more stuff like that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I do understand the side where people go, what about like the business owners, and people always talk about that, because I can understand that side of, for example, like raising the wages and like how that could affect a business owner, because having to pay a certain a certain wage, and then specifically in California, payroll taxes on top of that. And it affecting actually the business in a not a negative way, but like in a way where then the business is gonna have to increase expenses as far as like incurring more income, so they're gonna have to change their pricing. So it does affect the whole thing. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying I could understand both sides of it, but the thing I don't understand, because the amount of money that I pay in taxes specifically in California, I'm always just kind of like, and I kind of talked with Hassan about this a little bit, is like, where the fuck is that money going?
The police, bro. It's crazy. You know what the LA spends on police? Like the city or the county of Los Angeles, that has one of the few cities in California that has a city tax on top of the state taxes already high. It goes to the police, man. Like 50% of the city's budget goes to the LAPD, billions of dollars. And so this is one of the issues too, because there's like a whole back the blue, people who respect the police and all this. And
which I'm for sure one of those people.
Yeah, good. So it's good that I can talk to that perspective.
Yeah.
Part of what I really believe is that the funding on that needs to be moved around, right? Like police don't need to be responding to like mental health issues. Armed police don't need to respond to every call that happens. They're doing too much, right? And they're not trained to handle a lot of the situations that they're going to answer for. Like I said, like mental health is a lot of stuff you see, arguments, traffic stops, even like, why do the police need to do traffic stops? Like how many people are getting needlessly arrested or even violently confronted for like a traffic stop? Because you bring this energy, right, that the police have there's an energy, right? They're fucking armed to the teeth. You bring this energy, you're gonna have more violent confrontations. And you don't need to spend that much either, because the amount of money it costs to militarize, or maybe you don't think they're militarized, but like to arm and them up like that is extraordinary. And so I think that's a big problem. Do
you think it needs to be like a different genre of police?
Yeah, I'm not even in favor of cutting the defund the police, you know what I mean? I'm in favor of moving it around a little bit to other social services that help prevent crime, right?
I see what you're saying.
Like if you could go into like a lot of the really poor areas here where there's like no opportunities, there's no outlooks, right? Because crime is the result of like it's a crime of desperation, right? I mean, when you're stealing shit, I don't think people really want to ever be stealing. They're doing it because they don't have a good outlook. They don't have a good way to make money. It's like literally a crime of desperation. And so if you like, we're talking about billions and billions of dollars we spend on the LAPD every year. If we could shave off like $100 million, just invest it in kind of like low income, high risk neighborhoods and like after school programs, investing in some of the infrastructure around there and giving them some opportunities, some alternatives, right, to like gangbanging or drug dealing.
Right.
I think that's going to prevent a lot of crime, stuff like that. And so
you don't think it just keeps, if that happens, it just keeps pushing it outwards then? Like if that happened in that area where it is, and then let's say it made it nicer, and then it just where the funding isn't being received, that it just kind of goes.
It's not about gentrifying their neighborhood. It's about giving them like alternatives to like gangbanging. So it's not about like making their neighborhood nicer and then like the poor people move to a different neighborhood. It's about having like a facility where kids can come play video games or play basketball or come hang out, and there's like positive role models there for them. And that shit's expensive, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, because I think culturally, I think it's more like people fall into certain things because other people around them do it.
For
and
sure.
And it's okay. And it's like, since he does it, I see it. He's cool. He has money. That's what, like, this is what I see. And that's what I see is working. So I'm going to go ahead and do it myself as well. I understand that perspective for sure.
Yeah. And, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The taxation issue is crazy. I mean, especially here in LA. I mean, I pay so much in fucking taxes. I'm sure you understand.
Yeah.
And so, it's frustrating to see like there's still so many problems. And I think why we see that is because we use our money to address the symptom and not the root cause of.
I feel like just these politicians are just pocketing everything, dude. I just feel like they're just
could
like
be.
they're
Some good
paying
old
their family or some shit.
They do that. I mean, they do that sometimes. You know what I mean? That's just some good old fashioned corruption.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know it to a T exactly what's happening, but it's just like it just feels like there's so much money that it like every year that it doesn't make sense for it to just progressively get worse.
Yeah, well, if you look on the federal level,
man.
where they're dealing with like trillions of dollars in budget, if you go look at like the military, they literally lose unaccounted for, just like vanished, poof, gone, hundreds of billions of dollars a year. Like they're in the war in Iraq that happened, there's like $1 trillion that's just completely unaccounted for, like just gone.
Yeah, I knew this. Didn't we just leave a bunch of shit there too?
Yeah.
It's just like,
just left it there
what the fuck, dude?
because it's cheaper to leave it than bring it back, you know.
But that's insane though. That's fucking crazy.
But there was something else you said I wanted to touch on, which was that we were talking about the city. Oh, about business owners.
Yeah.
Like you raise taxes, you raise minimum wage, it affects the business owners, the small business owners.
Yes, basically small business. I'm not talking I mean, obviously it affects everyone, but people who are like kind of just making it, like they might need to now increase their prices, and then like a customer might be like, fuck, this is too expensive. I'm gonna go to the bigger business, the bigger box that like they can price out the small businesses.
So I think that's a misunderstanding a lot of times that people have with like socialistic kind of attempts at like social changes like that. I think it's an easy way to attack such policies, but the reality is in policies like that is that the money's coming from the people up top to benefit the people in the bottom. I don't think in any of the stuff that like Joe Biden was pitching, or even AOC and all these kind of policies to get demonized, like the Green New Deal or whatever, like this money is coming from the richest, highest bracket individuals and companies, and it's being used to bring it down and benefit for the benefit of people and small business owners as well. So I don't think the plan is ever to raise their taxes. I see what you mean on like the minimum wage, right? Like obviously that would affect them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there does need to be some level of redistribution of wealth, is kind of like not a nice way to say it, but there needs to be some level of responsibility that the people at the highest levels of earning, I mean, you're looking at people who are sitting on literally a fucking mountain of gold. Like
You're talking about billionaires,
multi-billionaires. And by the way, I'm not a socialist. I don't even believe that like, I have no problem with billionaires existing. You know what I mean? I'm a business owner. But I do think that, like, there's countries that do it really well, like Scandinavia. They're not like a real socialistic society. They're not like communists, you know what I mean? But they do have, like, super high tax rates which they use for, like, to have incredible social services for people, like free college. They have a basic income. They have, like, incredible mental health facilities. Their prisons, for example, are like nice. Like you don't go there and come out worse than you went in. You imagine like the prisons here, they're like hell. It's like hell, right? Like we all know that. You go there and it's fucking hell. The whole point of prison is to rehabilitate people, right? To give them a second chance and to help society.
Yeah, but I don't think that's really the point of it. It seems like it's just like a money scheme here.
A money scheme. Also in America, people like to just, I think in general, punish people. Like we're putting them there to punish them. Like we want them to suffer, right? Yeah. But like ultimately, that doesn't help society. So if you look at prisons in like Scandinavia, they're like nice. You know what I mean? Like actually nice. Like their rooms are like kind of dope.
To be like, wouldn't we?
It's crazy. Or what? It seems crazy.
Go get arrested in Scandinavia or something?
Yeah, no, like for real. And so, but the interesting thing is the amount of people that come back to prison, I forget the term for it, is like very low, almost non-existent. Yeah. Whereas here in America, people they go, they come back, they go, they come back, and we spend a lot of fucking money on housing them.
Yeah,
like 30,000 per prisoner a year. But
it doesn't make sense though, because isn't that just it's like a private business? It's just like we're just dumping tax money into like some private business.
Yeah, it's fucked up,
which is crazy.
That's something. There's certain things that should not be owned by private business. Healthcare, in my opinion, is something that's too important to let private businesses own, because you don't want a profit incentive to be involved in something that's so important to like our welfare, right? Like prisons, healthcare, shit like that.
Well, that's what I don't want to get into this so much, but like, you know, during the whole vid thing, the whole P-demi.
The what?
The P-demi.
The P-demi?
Yeah, the P-demi.
Oh, the P-demi.
Yeah.
Okay, the P-demi.
During that whole thing, it's like, you know, that was one of the things that bothered me so much, is like they're telling all these people the jab is free, right?
Yeah.
It's not free. Our tax money is paid to a $1 trillion pharmaceutical company.
Yeah.
And we're already paying this tax money to then get these jabs.
Yeah.
And so like that kind of stuff just seems so crazy to me, because like they convince everyone that it's free, but it's not, because they already took it out of your taxes and they paid it to this like $1 trillion private company. So that's why during that whole thing I was so like, that was another reason why, besides just the non-expression of, you know, going to the gym and all this stuff actually being important, and them really not mentioning much of that during the time, and being so forcing of take this jab, take this thing. And it's like, and they're telling everyone it's free. It's like, dude, this is not free. This is just, it's a subsidized money to a private company, and they're just encouraging the fuck out of it.
It's free in a way, right? Because like if anyone can walk in and get it, I think that's what they mean, right? Obviously, we paid a fuckload of money as taxpayers.
But it's not free then. It's free because you don't got to walk in and pay it.
It's free in a way. Like if you're broke as shit, you're not going to go to a pharmacy and spend $50 for a shot. You're going to say, fuck that.
True.
But it's free for them. For me and my taxes, I probably paid tens of thousands of dollars for it, right?
Yeah.
Per my tax bracket or whatever. So it's not free in that way, but I think the messaging of saying it's free is important, so that people know they don't have to pay literally to get it, right?
Yeah.
But I see what you mean.
Just the fact that it's like I said, even prior to me talking about that point, like if it was something that wasn't owned by like a private company, that it's just like, you know, whose hands could be in the pockets of these pharmaceutical companies to like the highest level, which is like, of course,
they made a lot of money. They made a lot.
Yeah, and it's just like I get it, I understand it, but at the same time, it just feels shitty. And then I see that, and I'm like, this just feels shitty. It's not like it's some like pristine company. It's like these guys are just pocketing fuck tons amount of money, because it's just like, well, we all need to do this.
What's interesting is I think both, any political affiliation, we can all agree that the pharmaceutical companies are fucking crooks, right? They're like killing people and to make money.
Yeah, it's insane.
And so the question is like, what do you do about it, right? Because like, are you in favor of like, are you like no regulations kind of guy, or are you like think that some regulations? Because ultimately it's like, you got to do something about it, right? So what is it?
Yeah. I mean, there needs to be a level of course. I just think like, I don't know. I guess in my mind, I just wish people were just fucking like fair. And people just seem to be, and I learned this just in my own personal life, my own business doings and business relationships, even friendships that, you know, turn to business stuff. Is like, people just aren't fair. People just want the most for the least. And people want to like, maybe in the beginning they do a good job, and then eventually they just do less because they just want to like get by. And you take that to the highest scale of like these massive companies, and it's like, all they do is see money, and they don't care that if it's like affecting people negatively, or if it's like taking money out of someone else's pocket. They just don't give a fuck. And that's just such a massive scale.
They don't by design, right? That's what capitalism is. These are huge publicly traded companies, and the only people they care about appeasing is their shareholders.
Right.
And so it's literally by design that they don't fucking care about, that they only care about money. That's capitalism, right?
I guess what bothers me when we talk about this, because I agree, is that then I think about, you know, during that whole time, they're like, this is the government caring about us, saying we need to take this jab. But in reality, it's like, we just funded this company trillions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Like that's on the back end of this thing, that not saying that like this can't help anyone or this didn't help anyone, but on the back end of that, like help is money.
Yeah.
And it's not just, we're not like, because during the time, it's like, it's almost as if like the government was trying to convince people that like, we were trying to help you. It's like, dude, none of this is about helping. This is just about fucking money. So it frustrated me.
Yeah. So the whole way that played out was kind of interesting, right? The government was like, okay, we need a vaccine and we need it fast. And the technology that actually came through that is kind of like going to change the world. So there was like a good thing that came out of it, which is like this. I mean, they developed a vaccine in like 6 months, which before it takes like 10, 20 years. It's unheard of, right? And so,
which is a fishy as fuck to me.
Why?
It just seems weird.
Why does it seem weird?
It just seems like it was already there. Or
You think it was already there?
I don't know, dude. I mean, to be honest,
you think the vaccine already existed?
I think the whole thing was some bullshit. Well, my honest opinion.
You think the vaccine is like just sugar water or something?
I mean, dude, you needed to take 6 of them for it to like work. Apparently, they were like, take
Not
this
6.
and take this. Okay, 4.
3. I did 3.
2 less than 6.
Yeah, but that's normal, right? To get boosters, like that. That's not a new thing.
I thought that boosters is like a yearly thing, not like you need 4 this year for it to be good.
Right.
It was like, yo, here's one. By the way, you got to pay for this one. Here's another one. By the way, here's another one. Here's another one. It just seemed like to me, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The whole thing felt weird. Where it was like, shouldn't it just be good? Like, I mean, I get it yearly, whatever. Maybe like I think the measles or the pox is like every 6 years or some shit like that. I don't even know the time, but for this to be like, you need all 4 of these for this to be effective was like crazy as hell to me.
I think why it was like that is because we were working so fast. They were working so fast, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a changing landscape. We're like measles. We know what measles is, right? We know what the fuck it is. We have the vaccine. There's no like measles 2.0 around the corner. And so I think what happened was that it was such a changing landscape that they did it faster than they ever would. And I think the science, frankly, was showing. Obviously I disagree with you with the whole vaccine thing to a degree. I think we agree some level on like the money aspect of it.
Yeah.
But I think they realized that to get the most efficacy out of it, you would need to supplement it with more vaccine. And again, that's not unheard of, right? Like you know how many shots you got to get for rabies? It's like 12 or some shit, like back to back to back.
Yeah, but it's like rabies isn't something they force everyone to get. Well, forcing everyone to get at one point. I guess my question is it true? I don't know this because I haven't looked at the numbers, but is it true that more people who got the vaccine have actually died now from the virus than people who are unvaccinated?
I'm not super familiar, but it's possible, right? Because at this point, there's a lot of fucking people who are vaccinated. Yeah. And it makes, like, if you're just looking at a numbers game, it's possible. I don't know. I'm not looking at the stats. But I think, at first there was like a moving goalpost, right? So I understand the skepticism. At first it was like, you're like 90% not gonna catch it. And then and then they're like 60% you're not gonna catch it. And then they're like, okay, you're gonna catch it, but it's gonna reduce gonna reduce the severity of it, right?
It fucked me up, man.
So like I get like the communication from the government was like fucking horrible, right? So so like that moving goalpost was like not good. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you look at people who are dying in the hospital, the morbidity rate is like very close to 0 with people who were fully vaccinated versus not.
Yeah. The thing that really just bothered me, man, was that the airports were open the whole time. That's what really got me going. When I talked about the whole gym thing staying open, the health officers would always come into my gym and go like, they would say, you got to do this and do that. And they're like, well, tell me about this. And I'd ask them about the airport. And they go, well, that's federal jurisdiction, so we don't deal with that. Yeah. So I'd always say, okay, so you're telling me that because it's federal jurisdiction that COVID is not spreading there? And they go, oh, they're like basically just refuse to answer questions at that point. Mm-hmm. And it was always frustrating to me because I remember during the time in the thick of it, in the beginning and like to early middle of this, it was just wide open. There was no change. And to me, it's just like, as well as like Costco down the street and all these other places that were just okayed because like they followed some sort of principle. It was just like, I get it because, someone's going to say, well, people need to use the airport, right? I guess in my mind, it was like they made it such a serious thing that I figured, well, if it was so serious, then wouldn't you want only certain people to go and use the airport? Because it's like the biggest transport of people. Like they would have to prove that they would need to use it if it's such a deadly and killer disease.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And I would ask them these questions like straight up in person, and they were just like, "Oh, we don't know what to say. That's federal. Like we don't even deal with that." And I just remember feeling like just because this is local, public level, you're able to just say I can't do this, but I can get on a plane and fly across the country.
Yeah, there was a certain level of hypocrisy throughout it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there has to be, because like you said, I mean, you can't close like the grocery store. I remember though, during the peak of it, there was like special hours for older people, right? Where it was just they would come in, they didn't allow other shoppers in.
I think this must have been specifically an LA thing, because this didn't happen really like a few other places maybe.
Maybe California.
California was very stringent on this stuff.
We were the first state to lock down.
Fuck.
But there was like lines, to get into the grocery store, and airliners would sell out like only a quarter of the seats, so people were spread out.
But I don't think it was because they were doing it. I think they just weren't. People were afraid to fly, so people just weren't buying tickets. I don't think they were doing it strategically.
Well, they were. I think they were forbidden from selling by the government.
They were.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were any of that.
Yeah, there was.
Because I was on planes and it was like full
during the height of it. Yeah. So it's possible. Yeah, so that they said, it's essential, right? They go, this is essential. What can you do?
Oh, dude, that was.
But yeah, there's obviously a hypocrisy to that, and there was a lot of friction around it too. Like they said that like worshiping and going to church wasn't essential, and so there was a lot of, and like what you say, well, the gym is essential, right? And so there's a lot of.
You know what they also said was essential during that time?
Yeah.
Which really fucking got me pissed off. I mean, I get it is what it is, but. Because the only reason why I know all this stuff is because I was dealing with it personally, and I was trying to figure out ways to figure it out with my gym. Mm-hmm. In the same county where my gym is, LA County, right? Woodland Hills area, San Fernando Valley, creating, like if we were in here and there was a bunch of people and we're creating pornography, that was completely okayed.
Oh, because they're entertainment.
Yeah. That's awesome. I was like, so we can be doing that, but I can't be in my gym. And it was just, there was so much stuff that I was like, this is just, all this is pissing me off. You're talking about people are literally swapping saliva.
That's funny. That is like funny.
Bodily fluids.
That's awesome that they were still making porn.
Yeah, they were. And I was just like, that's why I was so that, obviously I had all the other, my personal connection to the gym and why it was important, but all these other things that I kept seeing. And I'm just like, this is just not fair.
Yeah.
And then it bothered me when we started talking about essential, because it's like, who is someone to say what's essential for someone's like livelihood? Someone needs to make money, and you kill people's businesses. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, who knows the guy who had a gym or the guy who had a business that had to close because it's not essential. He now has no income. Let's say his kid is on fucking chemo. He can't pay for chemo. His kid dies. Like you can't say that never happened, So it's just like where there was no middle ground of like, we could make it make sense. It was just like, this is okay and that's not. And it's just, I just felt really, really strongly about that essential versus not essential thing. Was like,
yeah, I think it's a gray area, right? When you start debating like what does essential mean with other people, because obviously it means different things to different people.
Yeah, of course.
And so I totally understand, where you're coming from, that perspective, right? Especially when you see like people are shooting porn and shit, like because they didn't have the like. They weren't able to sculpt things really because everything moved so fast. Because like we were able to continue working because we're media.
Yeah.
Right.
But also that's the thing about me is like, I was also media, but they like, obviously I have a gym that's running as well, but it's like a part of me being in there filming content is like everyone in there does film content. Mm-hmm. So we were trying to figure all these loopholes, but
did anything work? How in the end, as I understand it, they didn't really punish you, right? So.
They dropped the case.
So in the end, the city was kind of let you go with that.
Yeah, but like because I like fought back, and so then the frustration comes like, yeah, I got away with it overall, but there's a ton of people who didn't have the same ability, right? Because they don't have a social media platform, they don't have another means of making money. That was maybe their only source of money, and then they're scared to even challenge the system because they don't have another source of money to pay a lawyer to challenge the system.
Yeah.
Right? Because maybe they just made enough to get by. Mm-hmm. And it's like I had that luxury to fight back because I had the other sources of income to fight back. Mm-hmm. But my situation is not like all of the other business owners who just got squished. just ruin their livelihood. And so that's the frustrating part to see. That was just like, it just felt like, yeah, I got to fight back, and like they basically be like, okay, like let's forget about it. But all these other people just like surrendered and lost their incomes, lost their livelihood.
Yeah, there was a lot of small businesses like restaurants and stuff that
got
disappeared.
fucked.
You know what I mean? But like, let me ask you this, just hypothetically speaking, right? Is there a point where the pandemic killed enough people where you would have understood? You know what I mean? Like, how bad should the pandemic have been to justify what they did? Because there's got to be a point, right?
I guess like when it first
Or
started
is there
going,
not?
I don't know. I mean, I think when it first started going, like what they made it look like right away and how scary, like because I remember the first 3 months I did close down everything because I was like, whoa,
right.
What the fuck? You've seen all these videos from China and people laying on the floor and shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I guess like I thought like if people were just dropping dead on the floor, like out here on the street, I'd have been like, all right, it's really serious.
Yeah.
You know, or like, but it wasn't like that. Like certain people who were already kind of predisposed, most people who had these issues were like, they were being complicated by COVID because of the respiratory and the cardiovascular issues that came along with it. Mm-hmm. And they were exacerbating existing issues. And those were the majority of the people who were like just dying from it, or people who like, you know, had other comorbidities that were like going to cause some sort of issue anyways.
Yeah.
So that's how they were dying. You know, it's like, I look at that, and obviously I'm not saying anyone's life isn't worth more than someone else's life, but then on the same sentence, if I could say that to be true, then like anyone's income is also not the more essential versus not essential for someone else, because someone's income is also related to their ability to survive. I don't know exactly what the line is. I think maybe if I stepped outside and like people were just dying on the floor, like as you walk by, it's like, it's really serious.
Really bad.
Yeah.
Because the thing about like dealing with a pandemic as like a epidemiologist or whatever, these people that deal with like viral spread, they're kind of fucked, right? Because they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. They don't really know what's going to happen with this COVID, but they see that like it's got like in the beginning 2% mortality, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's fucking insane. Because like if you at the beginning, right, it was different because there was no, people didn't know how to deal with it. The first version was more deadly. There was no vaccines. There was no whatever, right? So 2% mortality is insane, dude. Right, because if you do the math on that, there's like 300 million people in the United States. What's 2% of like 300 million?
It's a ton.
You know what I mean? It's like I think it's at least 20 million. So if you imagine like 20 million people dying, that is a catastrophe, right?
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, you know, for them, it's like, do we act to like prevent that? Or do we under react and then that happens? So it's almost like they didn't really. It's like it's a hard decision to make from a governmental position, right?
Yeah, but I would. This is my thing with that. I see what you're saying, and I would fully, and I understand, right? You don't want to underreact, you don't want to overreact. You're trying to find a balance, but if in your reaction there was no like, because nowhere along the line in the beginning where they like, you guys should be exercising and eating right and all this stuff actually will affect like your effective, like how effective you are by this virus. There was none of that. All that stuff comes out 2 years later, how important it would have been, how important it is. But like that the whole time was one of the most important things, but nowhere along the line did they say, you know, they were just like stay inside and do this and hide. But they were never like, yo, you should try to, I'm not even saying go to a gym necessarily. I'm saying work on your diet and these other things, because like this is going to complicate people with cardiovascular issues, with lung, with respiratory issues. Like they knew that, but they never said, hey, this is also really important. They just said stay inside, 6 feet apart, all this stuff that was like.
Actually, to be honest, I don't think they knew that in the beginning. I think they found out somewhere in the middle that basically
no, because
your outcome has a lot to do with basically your fat.
But they knew, not even your fat, they knew what it did to the body right away, because that's how they were able to start saying like, this is serious. They knew what it did to the cardiovascular system.
The lung, it attacks
so if you know that it's affecting that, you know right away, if that's stronger, your chances of surviving are better. If you're working on increasing the strength.
First of all, I agree that like the health messaging, you know, in general.
But that's what I'm saying. So
not,
when I think about this as a whole, I'm like, if they really cared, it was like, overreacting.
Well, you're not going to change your health outlook in like 2 weeks.
No.
If there's a pandemic ravaging the fucking
course not.
country, saying, yo, do some fucking jumping jacks isn't going to help you.
Obviously it's not that simple.
But you're right in that, like, you know.
But here's the deal. In the beginning, if we know it affects this part of the body, and if we know that we don't have a cure for this, and we know, okay, what can strengthen this part of the body, it's not hiding and staying inside. And that's what they were telling everyone. It's strengthen your body. Yeah. No, they just never said that until it was like, oh, by the way, this is going to help too. And that's why I saw this and I was like, this is like, what's happening here? So that's why I didn't believe in it.
I don't think that people need to know that being fat is unhealthy. They don't need to be told that, do they?
I think some people, it's not even necessarily, because not even necessarily being fat is what's specifically unhealthy. It's like just the actual
being, you know, sedentary or whatever, not moving around and shit. Like, people know that. That's like, I feel like that's kind of a separate issue of like health awareness, you know, and like obviously in America and throughout the whole Western world, there's like an obesity epidemic going on that's fucked up really bad. What's this? Gym weed?
Yeah.
Wait, is there weed in this?
It's a broad spectrum hemp, so it's not actually like, it's not going to get you high.
Wait, THC free. Okay. Lion's mane.
Yeah, nootropic. Solid product. I like it.
What the fuck?
So let's change subject a little bit. We got to talk about jail again.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Mr. Tate.
Yeah.
Okay. You know I'm a Tate fan.
I do know that. Yeah.
And obviously right now, not the best time for Tate fans.
Okay. Interesting.
But this is my thing. Okay. I want to get your perspective on this, because obviously I know how you feel about this and about this as a whole. And I want to preface this by saying human trafficking is very bad.
Okay, good. Okay? I'm glad we're starting on a good place.
Yes, human trafficking is terrible.
Not good, right?
It's one of the worst things ever, easily, actually.
Okay.
Right? Because this is my issue with the internet. My biggest issue with the internet is like, you know, content creators like you, not you is that the issue. I'm just saying, like, people make content around this stuff right off the bat, because right when it's trending, it gets views. You know, even I'll tweet something about Andrew Tate when this happened. It's like views, you know, engagement. Like, we're saying right away, because he's on 1,000 different like news outlets saying human trafficker. People are going to see this and go, he's a human trafficker, right? That's what they try to do. But have they proven it yet?
So you're saying, you know, innocent until proven guilty, right?
Of course.
Right. So
because here's my issue with it, right? So when we talk about, I'll give you another example, like 2 weeks ago. And I want to say I want to preface this, but I'm not defending someone being a human trafficker.
No, I understand. You're saying maybe people are judging him too quickly.
Because people love to. And that's the thing, people, and there's a lot of reasons why. Obviously, I think that it exists, and, you know, we could talk about it, but I'm just going to give you a different example. Like, obviously, human trafficking is a massive allegation. It's a huge thing. Like that. If this proven true, the rest of his life is pretty much fucked. We'll call it what it is, right?
Yeah.
But now we'll talk about like domestic violence, right? Same thing. But so check this out. Gervonta Davis, he gets called out. He's 911. He's a boxer.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
2 weeks ago or something, like his girl is calling 911 and like acting like he's hitting her and all this stuff. And then you see this like, he's reacting like, I don't even want to do this shit anymore. I don't want to box anymore. He felt so hurt about it because he was like, this isn't true, right? This is my issue with it all. I'll get to it. A week or a couple days after this whole like 911 call, and this girl's pretending like he's hurting her, he's hitting her and her daughter, like they have a kid. She comes back and she says, oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't in a good space. This isn't true. He didn't hit me. He never hit his daughter, right? This is my issue with this stuff. Someone's going to see the first bit of the negative human trafficker, domestic violence, and they're going to go, that motherfucker is a woman beater and he beats his family. And they're not going to see anything else that comes next. Some people will, when it goes, oh, it was actually, I was overreacting. This isn't real, right? This wasn't true, right? So right away you label someone as something that maybe not necessarily is 100% the truth yet, which is a very large badge to stick on someone. Right. And I can speak from a perspective in this because like I've dealt with shit on the internet where I've been in situations where I've been dragged for things that were never true and I just had to live with it. So when I see it, I'm like, it's a fuck situation to be in a position where like, again, if it's true, you're fucked. You're done for. If it's not true, you get dragged and people just go, that they just don't see the whole story.
Sure.
You know?
So that's a big problem, right? And that's like a horrible crime. I mean, a horrible crime to accuse someone of like domestic abuse. I've heard about. I'm really into like true crime, and I've heard about shit like a girl will like lie that she was raped, just straight up lie, and the dude will spend like 20 years in prison. I mean, this is a heinous fucking crime. I feel like if you lie about something like that, you should get the same penalty that they would get.
For sure.
About Andrew Tate, though.
Let's talk about it.
Here's where I find it interesting about Andrew Tate. He was arrested recently for human trafficking. He was investigated for it before. He got out on bail or something, right? But now they came back. They arrested him. They put him in jail. He tried to post bail, but a judge made an order that he cannot leave. He has to be there for at least 30 days as they decide what they want to do with prosecution, right?
This is in Romania.
Yeah, in Romania. Yeah. Now, as I understand of Romanian law, there is a pretty high burden of evidence to get that 30-day, but he's not been convicted. What I find interesting about Andrew Tate is the things he's being accused of, he's literally said he does.
You're talking about
literally
the cam girl stuff?
Yeah. He literally had a website. He's like, yo, this is how I make my living. I trick girls into thinking they're my girlfriend. He had like at one point like 50 cam girls. And what he's accused of doing is like bringing them out over there, getting them involved in like sex trade, cam girling, something that they, I guess, weren't otherwise interested in. He also had like women accomplices who were also arrested too, who like, you know, in prostitution, there's this thing called like the top girl, whoever, who like helps manage the other girls or like, and so a few of his accomplices have also been arrested in this. And he's basically accused of not letting them leave the house to go out. He's accused of taking their passports in certain spots and also being physically violent with them. This is from his website that he has since removed, but I've talked about this a lot. This was from his like, he's like also like a pickup artist, right? Coach, alpha male, whatever the fuck. He says, I've been running a webcam. This is his words on his website. Word for word. Okay. On his website, 100% bona fide real. Says, I've been running a webcam studio for nearly a decade. I've had over 75 girls work for me, and my business model is different than 99% of webcam studio owners. Over 50% of my employees were actually my girlfriend at the time. Of all my girlfriends, none were in the adult entertainment industry before they met me. He says, literally, that was my job. So and I'm just going to stop to analyze a little bit. So this insinuation that they were not in the industry before, right? And he got them in by being their girlfriend, okay? Literally, that was my job. My job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, test if she's quality, get her to fall in love with me to where she'd do anything I say. Again, there's a coercion there, right? I mean, even if you don't think he's doing anything illegal, by his own words, he's saying, I get them to fall in love with me, and then they're going to do everything I say, right? But that's not really how relationships work, right? Like maybe in his fantasy alpha world, but like read between the lines. But he goes on, and then I get her on webcam so we can become rich together. Whether you agree or disagree with what I did with them, their loyalty, submission, and love for me doesn't matter. You cannot reject the results, and the results are simple. My girlfriends would do more for me than 99.9% of men's wives would do for them. First thing, keeping 4 girlfriends all happy is hard work and leaves you with very little time. So you learn how to streamline getting new good girlfriends. All women are not created equal. This is how I came up with what is now the PhD system. I learned the most time-efficient way to meet girls, get them through the dating process, get them to bed, test if they're good girls or not, and begin the process of them falling deeper and deeper into love with me. You know they're not falling in love with him. He has a harem. He has a compound of 75 girls. They're all in love with him. They've never done porn before, and they're stuck in this compound doing webcam for him. So, but this is what he says publicly, right? This is what he says front-facing. Obviously, the accusations is that he doesn't let them leave and takes their passport. to extremely efficiently get women in love with me. That's it. And no one else on the internet is teaching this. No one. I mean, it sounds like they are afraid of him. He's like, I'm teaching women how to fall in love with me 100% guaranteed. They've never done porn before, but they do it for me. And so there's also other stuff coming out. Like I'm trying to find, there was DMs of someone put out that he was selling, but that was like I guess he was teaching people how to be a sex trafficker, which is kind of an interesting business model. The first time the U.S. Embassy came to him and was like, we have reports that you're holding someone against their will. That's the United States government acting on behalf of one of their citizens. But he wrote it off as like, she lied. I'm out of prison. All good. And so I get it, right? Like you can.
The boyfriend thing.
Yeah, you can be like, okay, I get that. But now this time, okay, you have 5 accusers, all former webcam of his, saying that he coerced them into doing sex work, didn't let them leave the compound, and some of the girls say that he took their passport physically, preventing them from leaving, that he was physically violent with them. And also 2 of his accomplices were arrested. And the judge has issued this 30-day. The 30-day thing seals the deal. And I'll remind you, too, I don't know if you've seen this, but Andrew Tate literally said he moved to Romania. Have you seen this clip?
Yeah.
He moved to Romania because the laws are more lax there. And so, but you add it all together, right? And so the first time he gets off, I get it. But the second time, what just happened, in combination with the 5 accusers, the 30 days by court order that he can't leave, it's adding up to be very, very credible. Besides the fact of,
But do you think in general though, like let's say like in a world where.
Wait, let me see if this is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why did you move to Romania? And I realized through my experience of the legal system that in the Western legal systems, whether England, America, any of them, if a girl says something, she needs 0 proof. She needs 0 evidence. All she needs to do is say it. And you have to defend any yourself. Woman you've ever interacted with in your life ever can go to the police and say, he did this. Do you have any evidence? No. Do you have any proof? No. And they'll fuck your life up. They will come and they will arrest you and they will put you on bail and they will search your stuff and go through your phone and go through your personal life and find new things to charge you with. It's insanity. And I thought I can't live under this system anymore, so I had to move somewhere with common sense rules. So I moved.
So I think he said it several times in different ways.
Well, that makes sense to me. That's like the same thing we were talking about earlier about.
Here he's.
It's like being able to do whatever you want. Do you think you can do whatever you want in America?
He said that several times.
Okay, you were just listening to that, the Fresh and Fit, but that was Sneako on there with him. Sneako had a question for you because I told him we were doing
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. He wanted to know, what do you stand on? Like, what do you truly believe in? He's curious.
That's like a stupid fucking Sneako question.
Yo, you're a hater.
You want me to boil down my essence to like one thing? Like, what do I stand for? I mean, this dude thinks because he got kicked off the internet for being a giant piece of shit that like he stands for something. Like, I'm sorry, bro. Sneako's like the biggest fucking loser on the internet. He's such a piece of shit. Okay, yeah, he's likable, right? Like Andrew Tate, he's funny. Yeah. He's smart, right, to a degree, and he is likable. But like, you see the good parts of him. I don't think you see like the bad parts that a lot of people see, because I think you're in general an optimistic guy, right?
Yeah.
And you see the best in people. And so, but Sneako, like the reason he got banned for YouTube, have you seen that? Like he was like talking to a sexual assault survivor and like mock raping her on camera. Like the man is fucking demented. That's why he got banned off YouTube.
I haven't seen that shit.
No, he's demented. He's really fucked up. Like he's not well.
Yeah.
So he goes, what do I stand for? I mean, I don't know, bro. It's like if you want to have a long conversation, which I think we're having, right?
Yeah, of course.
If you want to know what I stand for, watch the podcast, bro. It's just like a weird got you question.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot.
Yo, you're fucked. You're fucked, dude.
Why?
You're just funny. Your reaction's hilarious.
It's stupid. It's a dumb question. Watch the podcast.
I guess more so because, it was in regards to I guess kind of the hate and disdain that you had for it. It seemingly sounded like, again, this is not exactly the way he worded this question or asked me, is because in regards to the alpha, right? The disdain for Tate and people on that genre in general.
Yeah.
I guess the question was more in regards to like, why do you have, I guess, not so much do you stand for, what do you specifically stand for, but why so much hate for that genre of people in a sense?
Well, the genre is very hateful. I mean, if you look at what people like Andrew Tate and I'm not super familiar with Sneako's body of work, so I can't really even speak to like who he is. I've seen the clips of why he got banned and shit. But it is they lead with hate. I mean, their whole messaging is to coerce, to trick, to basically dominate women. And they lead with a very, in my opinion, violently misogynistic attitude that is like really regressive.
All right, guys, quick interruption from one of our sponsors, Blue Chew. If you ever were like, man, I just need a little bit extra in the bedroom, Blue Chew has your back. And right now, it's actually cool. Because right now, you can stay hard and fresh, right? Because they have some new flavors, some mint chewables. Give Blue Chew a shot if you ever had an issue, if you're like, man, this is like bothering me. And the cool thing about it, too, is like, it's online. So you don't need to show up to a doctor and be like, hey, doc, check this out. You just literally go online. You could tell the online service basically what you're dealing with, what you're going through, and they'll prescribe it to you if obviously it's what you need. And it's super simple. It's discreet. You don't got to tell anyone. You don't got to be like, hey, yo, I need to let everyone know, or tell everyone. I don't know. It's up to you. Point is this. Blue Chew is amazing. You guys will love it. Give it a shot. And right now, if you want to, you can get it for free. All you have to do is pay $5 shipping. Go to bluechew.com/RAWTALK if you want it for free. Legit, just $5 shipping. Again, it is bluechew.com/RAWTALK and get it for free. Or maybe try some of the mint chewables. Again, stay hard and fresh. It's kind of dope, to be honest. Step into the bedroom hard. Congratulations. Let's get back into the podcast.
It's really regressive. It's not. And so I find it interesting that they're like, oh, why do you hate me? When I feel like that's the foot that they come out with. I mean, at the end of the day, I do feel like Andrew Tate is a very hateful character, right? Even though you know him and he's funny and you guys probably have good rapport, right? And I've seen him with like Aiden Ross and they have good rapport and they're funny and stuff. But at the end of the day, if you look at what he's saying and his self-help to men, it is a very corrosive, hateful worldview that involves like second-class citizen women, and I don't believe in that. I actually think it's not good. It's a dangerous message, and it's a bad message.
Okay, so two things.
Yeah.
In regards to the hate, right? Remember I told you when I was on your podcast, the two experiences I had with you before I actually got to sit down and meet with you was hating on me from you. And I never came and I said, fuck you to you, and I had nothing bad ever to say, but my first interactions with you was something negative you said about me and what I was doing.
Yeah.
So do you think you don't lead with hate sometimes?
No, I do.
Yeah.
If you're asking me about the manosphere,
okay,
guys, then that's my answer. But if you want to know, like, if I, sometimes I come out the gate too hot, and I know that about myself, and it gets me in trouble a lot, and I regret it a lot. It's part of my personality that I'm, something I'm aware of and something that I would like to temper, because I think at the end of the day, I could get along with a lot of people. And as a good example, as someone that I like, I think you're cool.
I appreciate it.
And I like spending time with you, and the content we've created together is nice.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I come out too hot, and I suffer for that, for the friends I could have had, for the friends that I will lose, as an example. And so I think sometimes I think that I sacrifice maybe like a person ability, a social ability for like entertainment. Maybe I think it's more entertaining to come out like that. I could be wrong too. Like,
so here's the thing now. Yeah. So to that point, sacrificing that ability for entertainability, I guess, in a sense, I think there's a lot of what Tate did and a lot of what I would say specifically the manosphere side does because of the entertainability.
Oh, I got it. Sorry.
You found it? No, you're good. Because a lot of the the things that were said, and when I even talked to Tate, I think it was on the Full Send pod about this. He said, I wouldn't do that again. I wouldn't say that again. I wouldn't go about it that way.
Right.
Because in the beginning, I know it was about the entertainability. It was about the controversy. It was about the viral nature of it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, both sides do the same thing. It's just from a different perspective. right? It's from a different angle. Like both sides use each other to also create content around to get benefit, to like rally their audience up. And so then what it's leading me to say is I don't think there's so much hate. I do think there are things that he's said and things that he says that are like, maybe it's too abrasive for specific people, but obviously, and we'll just say women in general, for a lot of the stuff that he has said in the past, and I don't think he continues to say certain things like that as much as he did then. There's obviously a massive group of men that are engaged with this person, right? Because he wouldn't have the type of notoriety that he has if it wasn't, if people weren't being like, I like this.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not enough to say it's just all hate. It's just all hateful, because if it was just all hateful, like I don't think there'd be anyone there involving saying like, I appreciate this, or I think what he thinks, or you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think his fans are probably, well, here, let me play this clip for you. I found it,
Yeah.
and then I'll answer that.
That's the reason I moved to Romania, because in Eastern Europe, none of this garbage flies. If you're going to go to the police and say he raped me back in 1988, they're going to say we should have done something about it then. If you're going to the police and say he raped me yesterday, say, okay, if you got physical evidence, or is there CCTV proof? Where'd it happen? Okay, let's go interview him right now. And if it wasn't really rape, I was like, we went to the club, we got drunk, she agreed to go back to my house, we started having sex, and then we carried on having sex, and then we had sex, and she didn't say anything wrong, and then she texted me afterwards, and I didn't text back, and now she's saying I raped her. The police would be like, okay, she's an idiot, bye. But no, not in the West. In the West, you can tell them that exact story, you're still fucked.
Well, this is the same thing, though.
People say, why do you live in Romania? And
It's the same concept.
one of them is the Me Too
Wait,
era.
there's more.
They go, oh, well, you're a rapist. I say, no, I'm not a fucking rapist. But I like the idea of being able to just say, to do what I want. I like being free. And if you're a man living in England or Germany or America or any of the Western world right now, you've decided to live in a country where any woman, any ex, any fucking bitch who works at Greg's who you bought a pasty from, at some point in the future can destroy your life. This Me Too era bullshit has not protected women. It's just destroyed the safety of men.
Again, I don't know enough about this whole situation, everything that's been going on. I mean, obviously I hear the 30-day thing is
Serious.
It's making it more serious, because what you're saying in that case is that if there was a 30-day detain, then that means they have a reason.
There's evidence, and a judge literally, there's like a burden of proof with that. That's pretty high.
Yeah.
For a judge to
I got a
that.
question. It's a different question, kind of about Tate though. How long have you been doing YouTube for?
Like over 10 years.
How long has he been on the internet? Tate. Like
I guess he's been on a while, but he became popular like recently, right?
He blew, in the last like year.
Yeah.
Almost. Do you think like just a little bit of you is a little jealous?
No.
No? He
Why?
blew
I'm
up so
popping.
fast. No, you're pumped, but he was like I'm not gonna lie, like like Logan hated him for a minute, all these people hated him, and it's like he blew up so quickly.
I'm not jealous of Andrew Tate.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Not as a person, just like maybe just as the growth.
It's not the kind of growth I want. He's like pure villainy. You know what I mean?
But like we said earlier, is he though truthfully pure villain? If like there's so many men who are like, oh damn, this is refreshing. Because I think
just because he resonates with men, right? And
Okay.
so they see it in a different perspective, right?
yes,
And I think what Andrew does is what a lot of self-help people do is like, there's 80% maybe of what he says that is like useful information.
yeah,
It's dime a dozen self-help shit though. Like you can find that on any bookshelf in any store about, fixing your life, right?
right.
But then there's like the 10, and so they feel that because they like him. And so
Yeah.
they're more receptive to it from him because he's funny and he's charming.
fucking
He's
funny,
funny.
dude.
Yeah, he's super funny, right?
Yeah.
And
Because
so,
he does. I mean, you've seen his tweets. He does do stuff just because it's fucking funny.
I've seen him. He does all this shtick with Aiden Ross, and he's very funny.
Yeah.
Right. So I give him that, and I think that's part of his pull.
Yeah.
But then there's like the 10%, which is like, don't let your woman ever go out without you, and shit like that. Like, I understand that people like him,
Yeah.
like you, but they have blinders on, I think, to the 10-20% that is really corrosive. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But remember we said earlier about the entertainability, right?
But he's actually like, there's a difference, right? He has a fucking compound of webcam girls. Like that's how he made his money.
Yeah.
And he's in jail right now for human trafficking. Then.
Okay, I'm not
So
saying
like,
you and him are
I'm
the
just
same.
saying there, you know what I mean?
It's
Like
a little different.
That defense doesn't, it only goes so far, right?
Right.
Like,
And overall, I'm really actually interested to see where this goes. Like, what do you actually think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to get pinned with all this?
It seems like he is. It seems like he is, because if he was going to get off, it happened recently, and he walked out, and everyone's like, he's the man. He's good. He didn't do anything wrong. But the fact that they came back.
You don't think it was after all this, like, fucking the pizza box bullshit and the whole...
No, that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, which obviously, definitely. But that's the thing. Like, that's the whole thing they're trying to push.
The pizza box was funny, and everyone was having a laugh with it, but that has nothing to do with the Romanian police arresting him.
Yeah, because they've known where he was the whole time. Like, he's on private jets. Like, you don't know where the guy's at.
The pizza box thing was kind of like wishful thinking, you know. It was kind of a fun little thing. But it had nothing it had nothing to do with his arrest. I actually think he's going to go down for this because of the 30-day thing. And because of the amount of accusers and the fact that his accomplices were arrested and shit, I think he's going to go down for it. I think he is. We'll see, though.
That'd be fucking great.
I mean, he's in jail for 30 days. That's a serious thing.
What happened with the whole Greta lady, the Greta girl talking like, you saw all that stuff?
Yeah.
The small dick thing?
Yeah.
You know what's funny about that? You know what I find really interesting about that? Is the whole like, that whole side of politics is the body positivity people.
Yeah, there's an irony.
So it's interesting when I look at it, because like I just think it's all funny. It is what it is. But I look at it, that whole side of politics that is like, yeah, Greta said he had a small dick. Those are also the same people who are like, don't shame people for their body. And that's really interesting to me if you think of that concept, just for what it is.
Yeah, there's a little inconsistency there.
So it's like,
sure.
That's what I'm just like.
But maybe it's like small. She said small dick energy.
Okay.
But you're still,
you're just mincing words.
Yeah, well, you're making fun of dudes with small dicks.
Exactly,
you know what I mean?
Straight up.
And so,
it's like, what's up, man? What's up with that?
Yeah, there's a little inconsistency. You're right. I won't lie.
So I should be able to say I don't like fat bitches.
You totally can say that.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
You can say that.
I'm kidding.
You can't, but you can't say that.
You
know
can.
What I mean?
It's just like, yo, you're an asshole. Which, by the way,
well, there's certain ways to put it nicer.
No, of course.
Than that.
Of course. I like thick girls. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's amazing. But anyways, I want to get back to it though. Why do you think there's that inconsistency? Like, because it's always like when it benefits us.
I think it depends who it's about, right? Like, because Andrew, he's like this, you know, he fancies himself as the alpha male who fucks not every day and nonstop. And so if you're like, you have a small dick, I think people are gonna let it slide. If someone was like, yo, all men with little dicks need to fucking die, I think people would have a problem with that, right?
I hope
but
so.
I think, and that's true. I do believe that men with small penises need to die.
Yeah,
there needs to be a full-on penal genocide.
You're stupid. Holy shit.
No, but I think people let shit slide when they don't like the person. To be honest, you know what I mean. It is inconsistent though, because dudes with little dicks, you know, they're out there and they're gonna be like, you know, damn, that sucks.
Yeah,
but let's be honest, it already sucks. You know, they didn't need the reminder. It's just being real. Like, damn.
Yeah, this is funny.
One of the worst things, I think, and I don't say this jokingly, like, you know, there's like a medical condition, the micro penis.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Bro, that's like so one of the worst things.
It's sad. That's like a, yeah, I don't know. But I hear there's things like they're like doing like crazy. I got hit up like 2 days ago to do a brand deal for like some penis enlargement thing that's like some trending medical
like a pump
procedure.
Or like a medical?
No, like a fucking thing.
Oh, God bless. That's like awesome.
I was like, holy shit, that's insane.
How does it work?
I have no idea. I didn't.
Oh,
someone just hit me up and was like, "Hey, would you do a brand deal like
this?" Did you
and
say yes?
Nah,
I'd do that.
You would?
Why not?
I'll put you in
breast
contact
augmentation is everyone loves that.
I'm sure they'd pay good money because it's like a very thing.
But why did you decide not to do the?
Just because it's like what I'm going to send on the podcast and be like, get your dick bigger.
Yes. What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
Yeah, you.
I said you literally just did that with Blue Chew.
Yeah, but that's
Blue
like
Chew. Yeah, it doesn't work. What's the difference?
Well, no, they're talking about like implanting something in your, and like something that is like,
it's a surgery
that's always there.
It's a little
not like getting your
scary.
dick harder because the blood flows better. It's different.
I think it's awesome. I mean, it's a little scary, right, to put something in your dick.
Yeah, scary as fuck.
But
I'll connect you for that though.
Yeah, hook me up. Let's get him going. Let's get our big dick boys out there.
Yo,
I mean, hey, if we're feeling so bad about the little dick energy, let's do something about it. 2023.
Fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's change topics a little bit. Like personal life. Would you have any more kids?
So I have 2 sons. One is 3. Oh, he's 3.5, and then the other one's about to turn 1. And we're thinking about having more kids. Yeah, we're thinking about having a daughter, which is interesting. You know, you can pick the gender.
What?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. IVF. When you do that, you can decide the gender.
How are they deciding that? At like the sperm level?
So the IVF is crazy, the technology these days. So they take a bunch of eggs from the woman, and they can analyze the eggs for quality. So they can assign them like A through F quality. A being like,
how old are you?
I'm 37.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they can be like, yo, so this egg is super high quality, and the chance of you having a miscarriage is like very low.
What the fuck?
And then you can also say they take I think the egg is only 1 chromosome. It's like only X. So then they take the sperm that has like the XY or whatever makes a girl, and they can put that in there, and you can decide the girl if you want a girl or a boy.
Holy shit.
And what's crazy, they're really on like bleeding edge kind of IVF technology that's not public yet, but you can decide like eye color, height,
what the fuck?
Hair color, straight hair, curly hair. Yeah, no.
Yo, that's like a GTA fucking.
It's crazy. And it's actually like a big ethical kind of problem coming on where they're calling it designer babies.
What the fuck?
And you can.
Sounds like another fucking problem.
And yeah, well, when rich people are having like superhuman babies, I mean, you want to talk about wealth inequality.
Also, like the Neuralink stuff. Like when that stuff comes out, like it's not going to be super readily available, right? I mean, I'm assuming it's like going to be very expensive.
I don't know what it's meant to do. You know what I mean? The Neuralink.
What it seems like, at least from the information I've seen, is like you could like pull up information like this, like from your fucking.
It's just meant to make you smarter. Like it's not like to cure illnesses.
No, I think it's also built into that, like to other things I was reading about, where it's supposed to identify like problems that are in your body, like like right as they become problems. Like let's say like instead of you getting your blood work done every 3 months to see if you have like a chance of a tumor, right? A tumor marker test. Like it's like doing this like in real time, I guess, or some shit. Like, which is insane.
I think it's awesome, but in general, like, yeah, it's going to be a huge problem as that technology develops. And if rich people are, again, having access to like having like photographic memory all of a sudden, you just like that is such an insane advantage to you and your kids that like it
just makes the
divide is going to be nuts. Yeah. Between like elite superhumans and fucking like.
It's almost like it's going to make a new race of people.
It could, it's
fucking crazy.
It could. I mean, I do believe that human evolution takes place in technology. So.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to get to the point where it's like man and machine are just becoming one, which is scary, kind of.
I like theoretically, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, if it's like settled and good, you know what I mean.
I think you just lose, but you kind of start to lose what it is to like really be a human, because then you're not. Now it's just a different type of thing.
I think that's a moral issue for another day.
Yeah.
Once everyone's walking around with like, because like, what does it mean to be human? I mean, I don't know. You get a chip. Like, at what point do you stop being human? You have photographic memory. Some humans have photographic memory.
Yeah.
That's just awesome. Now we all get access to that. Maybe it can be like you're guaranteed not to get like Alzheimer's or MS or anything. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But people already do that. And then you can do like insane calculations. Like there's people who can do that already. Like there's people who have like rare forms of like autism, savant autism, or whatever. Actually, there's people who aren't even autistic that can do that. It's very rare. But you can be like, what's 1,010,000, blah 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 times whatever, and they can do it. So there's already people that can do that, right?
Yeah.
But what if we can all have that? Like imagine how. Like humanity, how much we can do, you know, when everyone has access to these incredible processing powers. You know what I mean?
But do you think it just I don't know, it almost makes it not special anymore. It just becomes like a norm, and then everything is like this, like
unless you
baseline.
don't have it, then you're really fucked.
Yeah. Then you're trying to play catch up forever.
Yeah, you're fucked if you don't have that.
It's an interesting thing. I think about that a lot. I obviously, like, I don't even know if we'll be alive when this stuff gets to this like crazy level, but I just think about it like my kids, and I really want fucking kids just in general, man. To be honest,
You want to have kids?
so bad, yeah. Also, I'm actually curious because like you work so closely with your girl, your wife, obviously. Do you ever find it hard to have just like normal, intimate time because you're just constantly like working together? Do you ever be like, yo, you just want to fucking take time away? Or?
That's a good question because like our lives are so intertwined with work.
Yeah. Because that feels like a lot because it's also it's monetary. It's like it's intimate. It's because then you guys want to be progressive. I'm assuming like grow this, and if someone wants to grow a little harder, grow a little more faster, and someone's like,
it's weird with my wife. We've always been like super close with everything we do. For us, it works. It sounds like on paper really like kind of dangerous or dicey to have
convoluted,
so many things intermingled, but for us it works. Actually, recently, because she's working on our clothing company, Teddy Fresh, and now I'm more on the podcast. Yeah. So there has been a little bit of a forking, which is, I guess, been good. So there's a little bit of a separation now, more than we've had in the past. Yeah. Where we're kind of have two different jobs, like distinctly
creatively
different jobs.
differently. Yeah. Creatively here, creatively.
Yeah. But it's worked for us, surprisingly.
You ever have issues, or it's just like you just like easy fix them? And obviously, I'm not trying to pry. Fucking, I don't need crazy.
She does
detail.
complain that my cock is too big. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You're stupid.
No, not really. We have a pretty good. We fight about stupid shit. Like what for dinner.
Yeah.
Shit like that. She's a skinny legend, and I'm a fat fucking. You can imagine the food friction we have. Yeah. That's probably our biggest point.
Are you like really actively trying to get in better shape? Like, do you think that you'll like look different in 2 years? Like, do you have a vision of how you want to look, or is it just?
I just want to be like at a healthy weight. You know what I mean? Like that's
what
my
is that
vision.
to you?
I don't want to get jacked or anything.
Yeah.
Like what I've been doing is an hour on the treadmill. I've been doing that for like 6 months.
Sure, you don't want to get jacked? It's kind of dope.
I'd be awesome. I just I genuinely don't think that I have the. I don't think I can put myself to the task.
I see.
Because it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
And I don't think I could do that. I think my max is an hour on the treadmill every day, which is good. I just want to be like normal again.
Yeah, I got you.
Like I got so fucking fat that like a lot of it's better since I've lost like 20, 30 pounds, but like it was hard for me to trim my fucking toenails.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? And like,
that's real.
It's a little hard to put on your socks. You have to like hold your breath. You get a little lightheaded leaning down and shit. Yeah. So like there's like, it sucks being fat. Like it sucks. Like it's fucking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and also I don't want to die. I've got 2 boys, maybe a third one.
Yeah.
And I want to live a long time for them and to share my life with them. There's a lot of reasons for me that I want to lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Does Hila like working out?
She has back pain, so she started doing like with a trainer once a week, and she's been pretty good and consistent with that. So that's going. I mean, she's not really super physical before that, but she's working on it as well.
And you guys do what, 1 podcast with her?
Yeah.
And then you do 3 other podcasts.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
4 a week, and then I have a 5th one for members.
Yeah, because I saw some clips of someone clipped that. I saw something on this was on TikTok once, and you were talking about, because I saw it was about me, that's why I was tagged in it. About
was it nice?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Okay. No, you're since you're actually really nice to me. You're not really like.
No, I got no problem. You know what I mean? We're dogs. Yeah.
So it was a clip of you talking about my reaction to the whole like antidepressant thing and like my.
Oh yeah, our fans got a little touchy about that, but I was trying to smooth it over.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Because I guess want to say that here. I didn't mean to say it was like, it's not. It can't be a good thing. The whole thing I was saying was like try to exhaust all options, and you said you don't think most people just jump into it and do it. Yeah. And I get it. I understand that. Yeah. I was just saying like if someone doesn't try anything else, and it's like, how do you know that wouldn't work? Like, for example, if I made a soup and I put everything in, I don't know exactly what's making it taste that way unless I put this in and then try to put this in and then try to. So I was just talking about that idea of like, try these things first. And then, you know, obviously you can't just, from doing those things, it just changes, you know, everyone's chemistry exactly the same. It's not fair to say that like this thing could help if it needed to.
Yeah, I agree.
But you were
I
on that
agree
clip.
with you. Yeah,
on that
totally.
clip, you were like, no, I think it was like this. So you were being very, very kind about it. But,
Okay, that's good.
But so you do a members thing, and it's like, is it a different platform?
No, I just there's like a lot of tools for members now on YouTube. It's like, you know, on Twitch you can subscribe.
Yeah.
So they have like the same thing going on YouTube now for live. And so we have a pretty vibrant like
So it's a paywall live.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so we have members who pay like $5 a month like on Twitch, and I do a live episode for them once a week on Tuesdays.
So you're doing 5
Yeah.
podcasts a week. Holy
It's
fuck.
awesome, man. It's been my dream to do that.
Yeah. I want to, and I'm not going to lie, after I did your pod and I saw your setup and your team, all dope, really, really nice people. I was like, fuck, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to involve it into that. Like, I know obviously we probably need a bigger space for this kind of stuff, but
This is nice though. You guys got a nice space here. I like it.
yeah, but I really like what you've done. Like when I looked at it and then I was looking at your channel, I was like, holy shit, you're crushing it.
Thanks, bro.
Like you are really crushing it. Like there's no
Thanks.
denying that.
Yeah.
It's fucking impressive, man.
The one thing that, you know, like I'll say our audience, it's kind of crazy. I never expected it, but like it's predominantly woman.
Yeah, that's great.
It's 60% women, 40% men. So it's not crazy. It's almost like at 50-50. But before, like if you go back to the era of everyone's like, I used to be a fan of you. Like probably a lot of the people watching.
Was it men?
We were 90%
like,
men.
Yeah.
And so we lost a lot of the male viewers.
Yeah.
And I think that sucks, you know, because clearly what we're doing, or at least the perception of what we're doing, is repelling men, right?
Yeah.
Or a lot of them who used to be fans. And so I do think it's good content for men. I think there's just a perception thing going on where,
Yeah. It's definitely that.
I don't know.
People just think,
crazy.
I mean, it's also because if we go take it back to what we were talking about earlier, but the other genre that kind of like, it seems like there's two sides.
Yeah.
Is before they even get to you, they've already been learned by the other side that fuck these people, right?
That's a good point.
So you're going to run into that, like that abrasion where they're not even going to know, which is like, goes back to the other stuff about someone saying something about someone and it not being true. And then it just being like, you got to deal with that label no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like people just being able to be re-exposed to you in a way that's a little more like calm or candor. But this is why I really like doing this conversation with you. And because I don't think, like, I've looked at more of your stuff. It's not just hateful bullshit content.
No.
There's actually a lot of positivity.
It's just the stuff that like bubbles up, right?
Yeah.
That like people that don't like us will put out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we do. And our episodes are like 3-4 hours, and we put a lot of effort into just, you know, being funny and being entertaining and just having fun. But you know,
I want to ask you, how do you create that much content? Like, are you writing down ideas in the night? Are you brainstorming? Like, what are you doing? Like, is there a flow that you have? Because I'm really interested, like I said, in getting into like having multiple shows. Obviously, like the show themselves can be based off, like, this is this interview process where I learn about you, talk about you, trending stuff, anything in revolving that I think would be interested to hear your point of view. And then obviously if I had another show that was like me and someone interviewing a girl or interviewing another guy, could have a different dynamic. But your shows, are you like planning segments? Because like that's the thing I noticed when I came to your shows, like you had all these things sorted, and it's like, I'm assuming it's not just you.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have,
Well, so yeah, we organize it as much as possible when I sit down to do a show, because we actually do interviews less now.
yeah.
And it's all about like the content and the segments and stuff. So I would like to plan a show as much as we possibly can with whatever little time we have. So I know exactly what I'm going to talk about, what sketches, what segments we're going to be doing. And the reason I'm able to make so much content is because we have this amazing crew that works with me. So certain everyone has a different job, right, on the crew. Some people are helping organize my show document, putting together the research. Like I'll think everybody is collaborating on the show doc throughout the week. But if I have an idea for a segment or a new current event topic I want to talk about, so I'll throw it to them, and they'll put it together for me. They'll write it up. They'll put it together for me. If we have a segment idea, we've got people that are going like who work in props, who are going to put it together. They're going to go get all the shit we need. They're going to build the set, whatever. And so the way it works is basically we have, I think like 12 people now full time on the podcast.
Yeah.
So everyone's got a different job. Everyone works super hard. And so at the end of the day, when the document's ready for the next day, I go over it. I move stuff around how I want it. I give them notes and stuff. And then we just do that every day.
Fuck, dude. It's you. So my question to you, because obviously business owner, I have raw gear, I have the gyms, I have the podcast, everything I do. How do you find the right people? And have you gone through a bunch of people? Because that's hard.
So hard.
It's like people who because everyone says, I'm good at this, or I can do this.
Bro.
Then you give it a shot and then they don't do it.
Like our producer now, who's like the king, we call him the wizard, Dan. We've been working together for 5 years, and we were trying for so long to find the right person. And even in the beginning, it was not great. Like we almost parted ways a few times in the beginning.
With Dan.
Yeah, with Dan. And so it's been very hard, and I've had a lot of trouble getting staff that I like throughout my career, and I've always had a hard time passing stuff off or delegating tasks.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish I had good advice because it was really, really hard for me. I think at a certain point, you got to give relationships the time they deserve to see if it's going to work out. Because a lot of times, you'll start working with someone, you'll be like, this fucking sucks. It's not working. They're not meeting your expectations. And so I think one thing I've learned is to give it its due time, which I think is probably like at least 3-6 months to see, to work together and see if it's going to gel. And I think one thing that was really important for me is finding people who are familiar with what I do. They got to kind of understand the culture and who I am. And so actually we hired a lot of fans who ended up being full-time employees for us, which seems weird and counterintuitive.
No, it makes sense. The guy who's my brand manager, who's helped me along the way, like literally worked for me for like the last 8 years, was a fan, and he met me. And he even told me, he was like, I'm going to work for you. And I was like, what?
That's what's up.
And then, and then he became like a gopher, just go get this, go get that. And then he was an assistant, and then he was my assistant for a time. And then he helped me with like a bunch of other projects where he eventually turned into the brand manager for Raw Gear. And he's like, he's crushing it. But he's just like, it's hard to find that.
Find those types of people, right? Because like a few of my guys wrote me like, my guy Ian, who's our switcher, and he's in charge of writing our bits, super funny. He wrote me an email like 5 years ago that was like super well put together, talking about how he wanted a job, and it was really well put together, well written. I reached out to him because we needed someone, and that's how we started working together. So I feel like a lot of it is keeping your eyes open and seeing people that have good potential too.
Yeah.
And not just that you like them, that you know that they have like good work ethic and they care and they want to do like, I think what's more important than anything is like the desire that you want to work, that you're like dependable and you want to work more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially in this space, man.
Yeah.
It's definitely a tough thing. It's like a constant learning curve. I know for me, and I think for most people who do this. A different question, kind of in regards to the same thing as far as social media. What would you say to like someone who enjoys your content, who makes content, like to be able to start something like that you have? Obviously, it takes time to get to that point, but to speak to anyone because like one of the most popular things I think people nowadays is like, I want to be a content creator, or I want to have my podcast or whatever, right? What would you give advice to someone who's just starting out? Because I get asked that question all the time, and I'm just curious on your response.
So the first 2 or 3 years, I did it for love of the game, pure passion, just wanting to express myself creatively, wanting to make comedy with no expectations of success or making money. My advice to people that want to get in this field is like, go in, first of all, with zero expectations. You got to do it because you have something inside of you that you want to get out. Like creatively, you want to outlet. You maybe just like making videos. I don't know, but you can't go in with the expectation that you're going to succeed at all.
Yeah.
You got to have, like I had a day job. I was working full time in marketing when I was doing it. And so go in with no expectations. You got to go in because you love it. Yeah. And you got to fucking be persistent as shit. You got to keep fucking doing it for years because you have to be that motivated. You have to want it that bad to succeed.
Yeah.
Because it's so competitive now to be successful in the internet. And like you said, more and more people want to do it. You have to, it's like almost like advice on something like that is kind of pointless, because if you have the drive to do it, you're going to do it. And if you don't, you don't. Like there's almost like no advice that you can really give anybody on that. You either have it or you don't. In terms of the drive to fucking work without being paid for 2 or 3 years just because you love it.
Yeah. You got to really want to fucking do it. It's that simple. I think that's the thing that people get. They want to do things because it looks cool from the outside because someone else is doing it. Yeah. But it's like, is it really in your heart to want to do it for yourself? And if it's not, you're not going to succeed. Do it. Especially because when you don't make money and you spend time doing it, you don't make money and you're looking around like, where the fuck's the money?
Or you have expectations. Like, you got it. Exactly. And so I think you'll find that most people who are successful creators online, like YouTubers, whatever, Twitch, they were in it fucking, and they grinded and worked and worked and worked and worked and worked and worked before anything happened for them. Yeah. Because you just have to have like something inside you that just wants to do it.
So at the end of, but by the way, I want to say before we wrap this up, we're going to do 3 audience questions, but I want to say I really appreciate you coming and showing up. It was funny because before you came, a couple of weeks ago, I did the pod with Hassan, and I said, I'm going to have Ethan come on. And he's like, oh, good luck. I don't think that's going to happen. Hassan. Yeah, he scared me. And then you flaked, and I was like, fuck, no way Hassan was right. But you were sick.
I was super sick, I really wanted to do it, right?
Yeah.
But I got fucking so sick.
He did scare me, though.
Yeah.
Because when he said that, I was like, no, he's going to come. He said he's coming. He goes, yeah, good luck.
The thing is, like, I like doing other people's shows, but usually, because I'm on break right now, I don't have any shows till the 16th.
Yeah.
So I have time now. But, like, usually it's like I like doing other people's shows and I want to, but it's so fucking hard to justify.
No, I get it.
When you're like working all day and then you have another show tomorrow, and then like it's so hard to find a place to put that in.
5 shows is insane, bro.
Yeah.
That's like different. Are there, who else does that? Like
I don't think anybody does
2 bears,
that.
1 cake, like the Tom?
No, they have different people do the different shows.
Okay.
The thing is, my big inspiration, I'm very much a child of like Howard Stern and what he does.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker was on the radio. Yeah, me too. I still listen to him. He's on the radio for like 4 hours every weekday. And there's something, and he's live too, right? And there's something magical about like having that presence in someone's life, being that dependable, that I thought was kind of like a magicness that was lost when the radio died, talk radio died. And so I had this goal going in, is that I wanted to bring that energy to the podcasting space, and it's awesome that we've actually been able to do that. So
yeah, it's insane actually.
Thanks, bro.
By the way, too, before we get into the last questions, so me and Steve are also really excited to come on your podcast.
Yes,
we're gonna plan that.
Yes,
probably sometime this month, or like when you get back to your shows.
Yes.
We were talking about it. It's gonna be funny. But yeah, so at the end of every episode, we do 3 audience questions where if you guys, Natalie, do you have a mic over there or no?
Yes.
I have a question for the audience.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do y'all think that Steve jerked off his dog?
Yeah, we talked about this.
Because like I'm not the only one. Now I'm out here and I'm saying Steve didn't jerk off his dog. I believe him. I believe you. It was a bit.
You ran a poll.
I did a poll. The poll was not in Steve's favor.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But because I thought it was funny, because you're like, I can't believe Ethan believes this shit. But then you go down the comments and everyone's like, yo, Steve definitely jerked off his dog. So my question to you guys is, did Steve jerk off his dog?
No, man. But I'm not going to lie. The other day, Steve was tweeting some dumb shit about me, and I was about to tweet like, Steve jerked off his dog. I lied.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I was about to. Straight up. I might do it.
You should have done it.
But yeah, let's get into these audience questions. He didn't jerk off his dog.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
For the record. Despite the poll with 50,000 votes.
Despite the poll, yeah. We don't
90% said yes.
Anyways, yeah, that's they can comment below, let us know. But give us a question.
Okay, so the first question says, hey, Brad and guest. I recently gone through the hardest breakup of my life. We lived together, been together for years, and talked about kids, marriage, the whole 9 yards. Because we broke up, I have to find a new place to live, work, and new car. So I guess my question to you is, how do you cope with things when it seems like nothing is ever going your way? And if you guys have any advice.
That sucks.
Yeah,
that
tough.
Sucks.
Well, I'm like curious. Is like the girls was his car was his girls. It sounded like, and he probably lived with his girls.
Maybe they shared a car.
Yeah.
I feel like his whole life is gone overnight.
Yeah. I mean, man, this is I don't get the classic answer, but it's like I don't know exactly how you ended up there, how you got there, but you know, the same way you get through anything is it's obviously number one, it's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy, right? Because you're going through something that's a trying time, but I think it's just a matter of going through it, learning, and this is too, I think, really important to say, because a lot of people get into situations in their life where they're like, fuck, this is so terrible and my circumstances are so bad. And they kind of just like drag that out as they're trying to get out of it without understanding how they got there. You know what I'm saying? Like not enough people, I think, in those moments where it's like really difficult, because normally when you're in those moments and it's super difficult, it's much easier to like not look inwards and just look outwards and be like,
you want to be the victim of your circumstance, and you want to feel bad for yourself all the time.
100%. So it's much easier to take that stance. And I think the minute you start to take the non-victim stance in this situation, you're going to learn the most about yourself, which the goal should be, obviously this is terrible, but you don't want to recreate that in your life moving forward. So you start to learn, okay, how did I get myself here? And not just how did, you know, my relationship to someone else put me here? Like, how did I find myself here? And it's going to be a really hard time in your life. But at the same time, it's you know, more than likely going to be one of the most like eye-opening, like self-learning experiences that you're probably going to go through if you allow it to be. So with that being said, like everything else in life, you just have to keep moving through it. There's no like right answer. There's no right way. There's no like right timeline for you to be like, hey, this is exactly right, and this is how you deal with it, and this is how you go through it. You just have to keep going. Like we were talking earlier about becoming like a creator, or becoming anything, or doing anything in your life that's difficult. This being one of them, is like you just have to keep moving through it and trying to learn the most from it so that you can grow in your life, so that you don't continue to be in those same circumstances.
Sometimes life gets so fucking hard that people don't see a way out.
Yeah.
You're just like in a black hole and you're like, I'm never going to get out of this. And it gets real dark, man. And some people get fucking so depressed that they only see one way out. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I think that it's important to speak to that state of mind and that place, is that, you know, there's always, you know, you look at the horizon and maybe there's like a hill, you know, you can't see past the horizon, but beyond the horizon, there's always going to be brighter and better days.
Yeah.
And the question is like, are you going to wait it out?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are you just going to wait? Because basically you just got to wait for the storm to pass. And there's going to be days that are worth living. There's going to be the best days you ever had in your life that are out there waiting for you.
Yeah.
You just have to decide that it's worth the wait.
Yeah. It's tough sometimes.
It's hard.
It's just, it's like you say, we're just talking about speaking to hope right now. Like you just genuinely, you have to keep going. I think that's the most important thing. Because, I mean, I guess you have another choice, but ultimately, I don't know, I could speak from the position of like dealing with that or dealing with suicide, having it in my life. It's just, it's not the thing. If we're talking about this, like people giving up or quitting is, it's never the best choice. I mean, there's, like you said, and I think most people do believe, even in the darkest moments, like there is something else. There is that next phase of your life. And like I said, all these moments, like all these things that are truly hard in life are things that make you the person that you're like supposed to become. And they allow you to grow, and they allow you to teach people that come into your life, family members, friends, kids, whatever it may be, like to be able to go through similar things. Because the truth is, in this at its core, we all go through things that aren't easy in our lives, and we all have moments of like, you know, I don't want to call it necessarily depression, but we all have moments of like really low moments where we feel like shit, and we feel like it's never going to end, like this shitty feeling. And it's human. It's normal. We all go through it to different degrees for different reasons. And you going through it and going through the most difficult things is allowing you to shed light for other people, right? The reason why someone would even ask me this question, because I've talked about all my shit. I share it. I try and share it as much as I can. And the only reason why I can sit here in this position that I'm in today is partly because of my circumstances. That at one time I felt like I'm never going to get out of this feeling of why do I feel like this? Why am I like the idea of not being enough? All these things related to myself and my self-worth. And it felt like at one point it was never going to leave me. And now I'm in a position where I'm helping other people feel like they're going to be able to get out of that. So it's like I can speak from literal experience that there was a benefit that it took me 20 years to realize, but it's in my life now.
That's it, right?
So
that's the key. It's like,
yeah,
like you don't want to take anything away. Like you have all these great times and great days ahead of you. Just you don't want to take that away from yourself. You want to live on and experience those.
But give us the next one.
So the next one says, what's a guilty pleasure song that you listen to occasionally or even at the gym?
Oh shit.
Ooh, shit, a guilty pleasure song. What's that fucking song?
That's good.
It's like what? No, okay. This is actually one of my all-time favorite songs.
Wait, how's it go? I don't know that song.
Gravity, John Mayer. Put it on.
John Mayer. That's pretty good.
Gravity, John Mayer, easily one of my favorite songs. I'll play it for you after, but
okay,
it's incredible. Would you have one? Because I know you're on a
I have a lot, bro. There's like,
but like let's say
embarrassing,
like
that you're embarrassed to listen to.
The most embarrassing one.
I'm digging down for the most embarrassing.
To be fair, I don't think I'm embarrassed to listen to the Gravity one.
Yeah, you seem very proud of that.
I love this song. It's amazing. Oh, an embarrassing one?
Yeah.
Like, is there like a girly song you listen to that you actually like vibe with or something?
Yes.
Nah. So there are some love like R&B songs that like I probably shouldn't be listening to in the gym, but I like really like them, you know.
Funny.
But like nothing like embarrassing.
One thing that embarrassed me, my wife always makes fun of me. You remember Third Eye Blind? It's like so emo. I still fucking go back and listen to the album, their self-titled album, and it's so emo and it's so corny, and I fucking love it. And Ela, she refuses to listen to it. She's like, "This shit sucks, dude." Oh, I love that shit though.
That's
so
good. That's good. Solid. Give us the next one.
I love singing Elton John. I Want Love too. It's just about being gay. I want love. But it's impossible.
Do you sing while you're on the treadmill?
Oh, I fucking love that song.
Fuck.
Are you guys ready for the next question?
Yeah, hit it.
So they said, before I ask the question, I just want to say I have mad respect for you. Not being afraid to put your insecurities out there and talking about your anxiety. Was there a time where you were so close on quitting or losing hope on something you were reaching for?
That's a good question. I mean, often, man. I mean, like even right now, I'm opening a new gym in Encino, so I'm moving my gym to a bigger location and on Havenhurst in Ventura down there in Encino, and the rent's like the rent
is it's crazy
$36,000 a month just for the rent, and that's very scary.
Crazy.
It's scary as fuck, right? So I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure this works, but I felt the same way about my first location 7 years ago. Was worried about the rent. I was worried about the equipment, all the money that I was spending, everything that I was putting into it. I was like, what if this doesn't work? I'm so afraid.
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm saying it this way is like I constantly, even as I grow and progress in my life, I still have moments where I'm like worried that like, am I making the right choice? Like, am I going to lose it all? Am I going to be a failure? Like I still think about that stuff, but at the same time, like I can't let that kind of thought control my mind. Otherwise, like I really do believe the more of the stuff that you think about is the more of the stuff that you produce in your life. Like if I'm waking up and I'm thinking about how much I hate this or I hate that, like I'm going to bring that energy with me into the rest of my life, into my relationships, into my friendships. And I'm really been trying to, like on a really conscious level, to change that kind of narrative for myself. So to answer your question, yeah, there's been tons of times where I felt like, damn, like even in making content, like, do I still enjoy this anymore? Do I still want to do this? But it's more about finding ways around it or finding ways to like continue to motivate yourself to like, to realize that it's worth it. Cause I just kind of remind myself, at least at this point in my life, that like I said earlier, I have such a cool ability now at this point to be able to sit, like the fact that anyone just sits and listens to me talk is kind of fucking insane to me.
It's mind blowing, right?
It's at the highest level of like, wow, I can make a living just having conversations, sharing my thoughts is honestly the biggest blessing in the world. Right. Cause at one point, I was fucking sleeping in my car, figuring out where I was going to like get my next meal. And it's like, I can have moments where I'm like, damn, I'm afraid of this, but I'm also I remind myself, okay, but moments when I had far, far, far less, I still had the idea that no, I can do this. So I just kind of keep going. And I think that's just all it comes down to. Like, I have moments like that. I think we all do. And I think it's natural. I think it's normal. Part of it is to continue to push you, to drive you, to make you keep your eyes up so that you're watching where you're going, so that you're not going the wrong way. And also understand that you're not always going to go the right way, but it's just a matter of like fucking trying.
Sometimes the right way is going backwards.
Yeah, sometimes taking time and
You
it's
got to
straight
go
up.
back.
Like you're not supposed to always do this like, and that's the thing that I think we're kind of taught a little bit, or we have been over the last few years on like social media. Like it's like you have to keep doing this, and it's not. It's also just not sustainable. It's not realistic.
Right.
It's like everything comes in waves, and I think allowing yourself to like flow with it is gonna make you 1,000 times more happy, but also be able to. I guess I'll say this: if you're always focused on having this like upward trend, then like you're constantly looking at where you want to go, and that's important, but you miss a lot of stuff along the way, and you might miss certain opportunities or certain ways to like even enhance that journey of growth by just constantly feeling like I need to be able to do this, and when I do that I'm not good enough. But allowing yourself to like have moments of down is completely normal, because you learn in those moments. So I don't know.
It's about risk, right? Like,
yeah,
some people don't want to take risks in life, and that I totally understand that, but there's some people who you're not going to get to the next level. You got to take risks. You could take calculated risk. You don't have to, right? Like, some people are content, and I think that's fucking awesome. Yeah. If you can just go to work, have your family, and you're content, I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's all about how you feel inside, right? Are you not happy with what you have? Do you want more? You're going to have to take risks.
Yeah, listen to that.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I almost quit when I was doing my old channel. I almost quit. Completely.
Yeah.
Because it was so hard to make this. I made one video a week, and it was like, I put a ton of work into it every week. And there was like a lot of expectations on what I would put out from the audience. And so I was really hard on myself, and I would put out a video that wasn't as good, and I would be like devastated when people were like, this one's not as good. Like, the feeling was so intense, and it was just not sustainable. Like, the highs and lows were mental.
Yeah.
Of being like, I'm devastated. They fucking hate me. And then you post a banger, and it's like, let's fucking party.
Yeah, you're living up.
I'm the man. And the week, it was just I couldn't live my life.
Like this.
I couldn't live my life. And so that's when I pivoted to the podcast, and I found a new format that for me was sustainable, and something that I was emotionally way more stable doing.
Yeah.
And felt fulfilled doing creatively. And so, sometimes that was a risk for me, right? But
of course, yeah.
But the alternative was just quitting, because they asked. Yeah, I was about to quit. I was close.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like if you're just constantly only looking in that one direction, you don't really know the other opportunities. Obviously, you found some other ones that were beneficial to you, and obviously changed like the whole dynamic of what you do entirely. I think for the better.
Yeah.
Because
for me, it's better. For me, it's better.
I mean, your whole like I said earlier, your setup is like fucking crazy.
Thank
your
you, bro.
consistency, like the fact that you could do 5 shows is fucking impressive.
I never thought I'd be able to do it, but I'm happy. I'm super proud of what we've done there. But I used to make my shitty little videos when I had like, I don't know, 100 subscribers or some shit.
Oh, early
yeah,
days.
early, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I would post them to little forums to get people's feedback and shit. And people, sometimes they would just fucking hate me so bad. You know what I mean? They would fucking hate me. And sometimes I would just be like, God damn, I'm fucking.
You were like that
so bad. No,
hold on, but that motherfucker that Hila was talking about would never get hated.
I know,
this,
yeah,
right?
for sure. That's funny. No, but man, I was close to quitting a few times when people were just like,
why didn't you?
Because I couldn't.
Couldn't, like, for yourself?
Yeah, I couldn't. I was like, fuck that. You know what I mean? But I went back to it because
that's how I felt.
Had to.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I was in that moment where I was like living in my car for time, because like I knew that I could have went home. I could have lived at home. I didn't have to sleep in my car. But going home to me was like, I'm quitting. Right. I'm foregoing this thing that I think I really want to do, like to pursue this. And it wasn't even social media at the time. It was just being able to sustain myself away from my home, a place that I didn't want to necessarily continue to like, because when you live in a small town, you like you just see like everyone does the same thing and they stay in that life. Yeah. And I just knew I didn't want that. So me going back home was like gonna fall back into that cycle. Right. That like it wasn't even social media, because this wasn't even Instagram wasn't even out yet. Like it wasn't even a thing for me yet. Like YouTube was like, I don't know, people were barely making content on there. But I just felt like, damn, if I drive home with all my shit and I'm like, let me try again next year, that would have just.
You wouldn't.
I wouldn't have, and I would have been
Probably right.
in my mind I would have been a failure.
Yeah.
So I just like fuck it. I'm just gonna keep trying this shit.
Yeah.
And I think it's just sometimes what it takes. Just to be honest.
I'll say I'm much happier with the podcast thing I'm doing now. I do miss when everyone liked me on the internet. Those were nice.
Fuck it.
There was like a good solid 3 years where everybody loved me on the internet. That was awesome. But in terms of like my personal life, I mean, I'm very content with. I love my job. I'm happy waking up and going to work every morning.
Dude, seriously,
which is crazy.
I think if you just got jacked, everyone would love you again.
If I got jacked,
if you were jacked,
if I got
the same
jacked,
thing, everyone would be like,
"You think so?"
Yeah, dude.
They love
even
that.
if you said the same shit, they'd be like, "But he's jacked though."
It's true because I think like you gym guys, you really respect the muscles. You do.
It's the thing,
and I get it.
Yeah.
I should, man.
Dude, it would change the game.
I gotta get jacked.
Seriously, because then no one can say shit.
Jacked Ethan.
That'd be fucking sick.
Now,
bro.
what do we mean jacked? Like Liver King or like skinny or like how
Like,
big do I like sick? Do I need a 6-pack?
Nah. Just like I'd say like just like decent sized arms and shoulders.
some
Like,
arms.
if you had a shirt on, they'd be like, "This guy works out."
Okay,
you know?
okay.
Like that, jack like that. You
Hell
don't gotta be
yeah.
a fucking bodybuilder. That's crazy.
Hell yeah.
That'd be sick though, bro. That'd be
sick.
crazy.
Should I get on steroids?
Probably not.
Should I do it now or after?
After what?
After I lose weight.
Oh.
When was the best time to get on steroids?
Man, that's a tough. You'd have to ask your doctor on that one. Dude. You got your blood work done. There's a lot of stuff revolving around
You
that.
think Kaiser Permanente gives out anabolic steroids?
No,
fuck.
No, I think like unless you're like a
doctor.
burn victim and they had it or some weird shit. But no, so what I'm saying is like if you went to a clinic, you can get all your blood work done. They would tell you what's going on.
But like to get the steroids that like bodybuilders use to gain muscle,
that's different.
That's street shit, right?
That's street shit. Yeah, that's different.
They
That's
probably get
that's
that
the
from-
same thing that gives you like testosterone, right? Normally in most HRT clinics it's a cypionate, which would be the version of it, the ester, the style of it, right? I guess the type of testosterone, and then there's like all this other shit that HRT clinic would not prescribe. You definitely can't go to like a fucking TRT clinic and get a bunch of.
You can't get that.
All that extra shit.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
That's more like you gotta have your like professional gym bro.
How's that work? Is there always a guy at the gym who hooks people up?
I don't know. It just seems like it probably depends on what gym, and they'd be like that guy. Like you just know that's the guy who knows about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting.
That's probably a good business though. If you get like you would probably just run down to like Tijuana, go to a pharmacy.
I mean,
I'm really curious. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just really curious.
Like technically, you could order powders from overseas and make it.
Really?
Yeah.
So the powder's not illegal.
No, it's all illegal.
Oh, so you
Yeah.
could get powder from like India or some shit.
Yeah, like the Philippines or something.
Oh fuck.
It's all illegal though.
Okay.
It's all controlled substance. That's what I'm talking about.
So
it's
how?
like-
Okay, interesting. I see.
so technically, it is like this is all legal. All
Yeah,
the stuff
very
I'm saying.
legal. Got it.
Yeah, like the stuff even the stuff that we get, that you can get from a TRT clinic is you can't just get
I
it.
wonder what classification of drug is it?
I
Like
think it's Schedule 3. I'm not sure. I might have to Google
that's
that.
not a bad one, right? 1 is the bad one.
Yeah, this is. It's
Will
definitely.
you won't go, will you, they take you to jail if they find you with like.
I think if you had intent to sell,
That's so crazy, bro. I think all drugs should be legal. I'm 100% serious because drug use is not. It's not a criminal.
it's also like if
It's
people are
not
going
a
to do it.
criminal issue. It's like people use drugs for
Yeah, Schedule 3.
So that's the least illegal one, right? Or
Yeah,
most punished.
I think so. Yeah. What is it?
Like
No.
cocaine is one, and heroin is one, and all that.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
it's
that's
a
good.
least one.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's but the drug thing too. Like if you legalize just all of them,
All
though,
of 'em.
But it's like some drugs make people a little crazy, you know,
Yeah. So
like PCP.
my theory is that people who turn to like really extreme drugs have mental health issues, right? And making the drugs illegal actually doesn't prevent anyone from doing it. It just makes acquiring them more dangerous. And so if you make all drugs legal, all of them, you're going to have safe spaces for people to do the drugs, to get clean drugs, right? And also you can have human services, public services there for people who want to get clean, right? Where you give them an actual helping hand from our society saying,
So you mean like it'd be like
when you want to get clean, we're here. We have these programs for you.
it'd be like a person. You go up to that guy with the drugs or that guy with the help. You'd be like,
there's probably there's actually places like this in Netherlands. It's like a drug-free or a safe drug zone.
Really?
And so they give out clean needles. You can buy clean drugs. You know, you can test it to make sure it's good.
Well, that would fix the whole fentanyl problem here.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, that thing's fucking insane.
And fentanyl is like, you know, it's funny because it's made by pharmaceutical fucking companies here in America.
Yeah.
And like they're probably acquiring it in Mexico or, you know, somewhere like that. And these fucking pharmaceutical companies, they know the amount that they sell is way more than the amount that people are theoretically using. That's why the Sackler family is getting sued into bankruptcy because they made the Oxycontin. Because they were selling so much fucking Oxy that they saw. They're like, there's no way that this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
With the amount they're selling. There's people trafficking it to Mexico, and then they sell it back to Americans on the black market.
Fucking
shit like
insane,
that.
man.
But if you have a safe place for people to go use drugs, they use it safely, and they can get help when they want it. Because a lot of deep drug users, they don't want to be drug addicts, right? Like, it's not a good thing to be. If you're living on the street addicted to heroin and shit, like,
yeah.
if it wasn't stigmatized, like if you didn't feel like a piece of shit, fucking shit stain on humanity, you know what I mean? Like if you went there and there was actually people there who were like, here's another path for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. Me and Steve, we did a podcast. We were talking about the difference between like someone who's, you know, like LA, someone takes like cocaine. It's like okayed by like you and your friends. Not that it's okay and it's like a good thing to go do.
I think it's fine.
But like, versus like the stigma around like taking crack cocaine. Like it wouldn't be as normal as if my buddy was like, yo, you want to go smoke crack cocaine?
Well, that's racism.
How?
Because crack is fucking has the stigmatism of like poor black people drug. It was literally created by the fucking FBI and put in black neighborhoods to create a crack epidemic. It's literally just cocaine. It's basically almost exactly cocaine.
Do both? So I don't know this because I've never.
Cocaine is like, oh, cool, white collar drug.
But
cool.
Okay, so now I'm asking
crack is like you're fucking go to jail and you're a degenerate.
But my question is because I've never done crack cocaine. Obviously, I've done cocaine once in my life.
I smoked crack once.
You have?
Yeah.
Is it the same thing?
It's made with cocaine.
But is it the same high?
So I don't think I really got high on the crack. I just took a little hit from the crack.
Bro, that's insane.
Because I was with my homies were smoking crack. They were
bro,
like,
that's insane.
And so I was like, fuck it. You know, I was in an experimental mood.
How old were you? This is hilarious.
Like 18 or 19.
Fuck.
I only smoked it once, and I didn't feel anything. I don't think I hit it hard enough.
But are you telling me that crack it affects you the same way?
I think
that
crack
cocaine?
fucks you up more.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's like, you know, people take a bump and they're like,
but I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's the same drug, right?
So but I don't think.
And what's crazy is like cocaine. You're not going to do a hard time for cocaine. For crack, you will. That's where the racism comes in.
But I feel like it does something different.
Let's find out. Actually, I'm curious.
Right?
What is it? Does someone have someone?
Someone pull it up.
Right here it says cocaine is often an abused drug derived from the cocoa plant. It's found in both powder and rock form. While the powdered form of cocaine is simply referred to as cocaine or coke, the rock form is often referred to as crack or crack cocaine. So it's the same thing.
Just smoking it versus snorting it.
One is solid and the other one is grounded down.
My
what
question
does it matter?
It's
the same fucking thing.
Yeah, but if I smoke crack cocaine, what do I feel like differently?
Probably similar. Can you Google like what is crack high?
So we get some crack in here.
What's crack high versus coke high?
Yeah, that's what I want. Let's go look for them right now.
I'll smoke some crack with you, Brad. Come on, dude. Let's make some mistakes.
You're fucking crazy.
Yo, this podcast is about to be interesting.
Holy shit, dude. It really did. Fuck.
I'm pro. Look, recreational drugs rule.
Oh man, mushrooms, psychedelics. I'm a huge fan.
I think like responsible drug use is, frankly, an important part of becoming a well-rounded human.
It's facts, man.
Actually, it's drug use is so much part of our human identity, going back thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, people were treating it differently because it wasn't as like synthesized. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's all from plants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
but fucking the plant. I've been more fucked up on weed than acid. I've been more out of my mind on weed than any drug I've ever taken.
Well, that's probably because you took some crazy ass marijuana though, because that's the shit out here that
Yeah,
they like
taking crazy bong rips. But
Yeah,
like I'm telling you, dude, I've been fucked zone, like mentally fucking gone on weed, and I've done a lot of drugs.
Yeah, no, I'm a fan.
Yeah,
Acid. I haven't done acid yet, but mushrooms.
mushrooms is good.
I love psychedelics, man.
Yeah.
Big fan. Did we figure out what it feels like?
It's the same thing. So like if you
No way. So you smoke crack and you're like, yo, I'm up.
Yeah, it's an
yeah,
upper.
it says the same thing. It says that there's no pharmacological differences between powder cocaine and crack cocaine.
See that's fucking
What the
This means
Crack
that
it-
chemically they're nearly identical, and hence the product's similar.
I had no
results.
idea.
That's crazy, right? The way that crack is treated is straight up systemically racist, bro.
Holy shit, dude! I didn't know that.
It's crazy.
I thought it was just like I thought it was a completely different feel.
It's like the same shit.
Damn,
it's
dude.
just one is for like cool fucking businessmen,
Yeah.
and one is for like poor black people. That's what they
Fucking
think
insane.
about it, right? I mean,
Right. Fuck,
Yeah,
man.
the only difference is it says crack cocaine tends to be cheaper, faster acting, as the high lasts for a shorter period of time, opposing to the powder. Snorting it, injecting it, or swallowing it is different. So the high is a little longer,
That's
and
awesome.
it doesn't happen as fast, and it's more expensive.
I
thank
see.
you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more expensive, so it's seen as more like a.
So maybe
White
next
Claw.
podcast we do, we're just fucking taking drugs.
Let's go, bro.
That'd be
Let's smoke some
crazy.
crack.
I don't know about the crack.
To be honest, I don't like cocaine. I don't understand that drug.
Maybe mushrooms.
Mushrooms, I like. Mushrooms,
Yeah,
I
we can
get.
take some mushrooms. But anyways, I appreciate you, man. How long has it been? How long was this pod?
2 hours and 30 minutes.
Fuck yeah, let's go.
That's what I'm used to the marathon.
you crushed
shit.
this shit.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
You're good at pods for sure.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, man. And I
You
appreciate
too.
you coming. I appreciate you showing love.
Thanks,
and
bro. Thank
yeah,
you.
man. I to everyone watching, because definitely some girls because of you here. Please subscribe to the channel.
And all the and likewise, all the
Yeah.
dudes come check out the
yeah,
podcast.
go watch the pod.
It's actually good. You're not gonna hate it. I promise.
Yeah, no, you guys won't hate
Yeah,
it.
you
Definitely
won't hate it.
Because yeah, I don't have girls.
So,
at all.
ladies, men, let's get it going.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, man.
Thanks,
I appreciate
bro.
you.
We're dogs.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
we're dogs.
It's gonna be good.
I'm excited to bridge with Steve.
Oh, bro, you're gonna love him. He's fucking crazy.
I'm gonna get like I'm just gonna do a segment.
Do
something
it. You got
funny.
it. You got it.
I'll bring like a toy dog
yeah,
and just see how many RPMs he can get on it.
bro.
You know what I mean?
He's gonna love it.
That'll
You
be
got to do
fun.
it.
That'll
But
be
yeah,
fun.
we're out of here. Thank you guys. Subscribe to the channel, post notifications, all that good stuff. iTunes, Spotify. Thank you guys. We're out.